Alright, it's been really late since my last Witch on the Holy Night playthrough, but here we are, man. We're back. It's been so long that we're at 443 subs, and Tsukihime came out, and Fate's End Night just came out. Today, man. We got 3 visual novels to power through. Are you guys ready? Chapter 6. No, Chapter 5. I'm spinning my G Fuel. The melody stirring in emotions like nostalgia within them. Chapter 5, Night of the Witches, Part 2. Something once familiar but now lost to this world. They believed beyond a shadow of a doubt that it would play for all eternity. From opening stanza to the final coda, it was a mysterious siren song's many yet longing that heralded a return from dreams to reality. What? The night shook, a song was spun. Now their lost paradise was unearthed. Abandoned dreams, forsaken idols, they all responded to the cry of the blue cat. The name of that bell was Diddle Diddle, Banquet of the Night. All fables made possible, all marvels made real by the magecraft of Alice Kunoji, a more magical than magic itself. What did Alice do? Alice dropped a bell? Oh, that's so scary. What are you gonna do, huh? How selfish of you? Is that something you can really decide on your own, Akko? Oh, I skipped it. Alice had perched atop of the clock tower like a black bird of ill omen. She smothered the ruffles of her skirt as she were preening. Alice. There was tensions in Akko's voice as she lifted her head. The calm atmosphere for a moment prior had long since been shooed away by Alice's gaze. That girl. I've seen her somewhere before. Sojiro searched his hazy memory. He could not clearly make out her face at this distance, but he was sure he had seen her around town a number of times. Where and when eluded him, however, as the tension in the air kept him from connecting all the dots. Well, isn't it a turn of events? I didn't know you cared so much, Alice. I thought you were going to leave tonight to me. Okay. Akko readied her guard and took half a step forward. Unconsciously, from an objective standpoint, it almost looked as though she were protecting the figure beside her. Okay. Alice's silence grew even heavier. Her eyes, fixed on the ground below her, were devoid of emotions. An indescribable sense of dream and pressure laid claim over the plaza. A bell. I just realized she's flying. If he strained his ears, he could make out the faint ringing of a bell echoing in the distance. The rippling sound waves seem unbelievably to the what? I've never read that word. To be emanating from under the ground. No, emanating. I'm so dumb. Hey, Ayozaki, that girl, she's quiet. Sojiro stepped back, trying to stay out of the way. It was as tough he had been told to go to hell. Oh, it was. Oh my God, I cannot read today. It's been so long since I've read a visual novel. Woo! Since the last time I played this. It was as though he had been told to go to hell for the crimes of asking if the girl was Akko's friend. I wouldn't go as far as to say I cared. I simply had a feeling something might be wrong and came back to check. It's not as though I had any doubts regarding your abilities to handle the job. You know what's crazy? I have audio, right? Okay. Okay. You know what's crazy? I was so wrong. There is audio. I thought there wasn't audio. Much appreciated. It wouldn't have been nice if you had thought to come check just a bit earlier, though. As you can see, things seem to have worked themselves out. It's late, so don't let me keep you, Alice, since you have no doubts about my ability, right? What? Oh, face off! Their eyes locked onto one another. How do I take a screenshot of that? No. Is it Y? No. It was B. It was B. Their eyes locked on one another. Alice's stare was uncomfortably cold. Akko's was bold, daring Alice to air her complaints. I think I've changed my mind. I'm here now, so why don't the two of us go home? That's more your style anyway, Akko. You can tell me all about your adventures with the puppet on the way. Huh? What's that supposed to mean? Shut yourself in your room and make some more of your work. I really like Alice's design though. A disappointed sigh escaped Alice's delicate lips. It seems that the black-clad girl was more astonished than angry. Ako, I hate to say this, but seriously? Quietly, Alice questioned her roommate of nearly 2 years. You surprised me. Did you not say we will protect our secret together? Are you still having trouble letting go of the other side? Or has compassion taken hold of you? Not at all. This isn't compassion. I just feel like doing it this way. No plans survives contact with the enemy, you know that. The same goes for my mood. Besides, who goes out of her way to keep your promise she made forever? A little old-fashioned if you ask me. The proverbial knives were out now. No quarter was given nor taken. Sadly, their partnership was one of convenience and had not reached the level of mutual understanding. Their version of friendship was both delicate and unique. When a conflict of opinion arose, each would refuse to budge until the other crumbled. Neither was concerned for the other's plight, and at least for now, that was how they liked it. You know, I've come to accept stupid outbursts like that from you. Ooh, she's talking smack, dude. Once again, she let out a sigh, ever larger than the one before. Why don't we save this argument for later? I can make him disappear on my own? No. He's a friend. Finally, she stuck straight to the point. As if making to move a chess piece, Alice lifted her slender finger. Is that a fork? The fuck? She fights with utensils? Huh? Even this simple action seemed mysterious to Sojiro, the same boy who had been haunted by his classmate Ako Izaki and borne witness to an automaton, Ako's violence, and an animated doll. Though perhaps far beyond the realm of logic, both these things were derived from reality. As surprised as he had been, there was no need to think of them as total mysteries. However, there's a giant fork. When the thing appeared out of thin air from a seemingly unrelated gesture, he had no word besides mysterious. Sojiro stood motionless, captivated by the stage performer's magic trick, as the girl's single-finger magecraft turned into an attack directed at him. A blue light flew from the side to repel it, annihilating it without a trace. Is there? Oh crap. Ako immediately regretted her reflective shot. What are you doing? You're not satisfied with breaking just our promise, so you must break the rules as well. What? The already chilled midwinter air plunged below freezing. Oh, yeah, because you're supposed to keep it a secret. Alice looked calm and collected on the outside, but in reality, she was sometimes even more hot-blooded than Ako. This was especially true when it concerned her familiars. Accidentally breaking one would often result in a week of silent treatment. But against someone who maliciously destroyed her things, Alice was prone to retaliate without warning. Whoops, I figured I'd do that someday, but I couldn't have picked a worse time. Ako sighed at herself. Even she was exasperated by her own stupidity, yet she couldn't help but feel a pang of relief. Pang? A pang? A pang of relief. She did not intend to make any excuses, and she had no regrets. If she had broken the rules, then so had Alice. Ako. How do I put it? If anything, this took a load off her mind. After all, now there was no going back. Ako never intended to break her own rules. Okay. If there was anything for Ako to regret, it was putting too little power into her shot. I have a problem with this guy dying tonight. What difference does a day make? To Ako, it was simply natural to take on a pro bono case in defense of an innocent suspect. Is this personal? So what if it is? You know that paying back my debts is pretty important to me. More important than our agreement? Sure, depending on the time and place. Sojo's human rights had not yet entered the argument. Their girls were busy pouring oil on each other's flames. The girl clad in black was the first to move, or rather to erupt. I see, I understand how you feel, Ako. What? But I am going to have to kill him here. That's not good. I believe that you will let him live. Shall I take that you mean that you're ready to fight me for it?
ということでいい？
You know damn well I'd rather not. Akko bit back the retort. He was very familiar with Alice's magecraft, and knew painfully well how many mystics were hidden in Alice's tiny body. Mystics? I understood the reference. I play Fate. The odds of victory were essentially non-existent. And once the first shot had been fired, Alice Gunjoji was without mercy, whether facing a roommate or a friend, a most beloved family member or a stranger. Once Alice began to fight as a witch, she became a heartless, unflappable monster. Oh, that's not good. Akko advanced another half step forward, as if to encourage herself. It was too late to back down now. The situation was no longer trivial quarrel over a witness. The bedrock of their so-called friendship had nothing to do with their individual abilities and everything to do with being equals in will. That is why in order to stay true to herself, Akko had no room for compromise or deception. Of course, I'm going to make sure this idiot lives, even if it means killing you, and besides... Her magic circus howled as they kicked into gear. That was pretty cool. Her body, which had mostly been dormant during the battle with the puppet, ignited, preparing to demonstrate its true worth. She's been holding back. We were going to end up killing each other in the end anyway. Her courage overpowered any fear she had for her opponent. Turning her body, her magic circus, to become like the barrel of a gun, Akko fired a magic bullet. It was exceedingly basic magecraft formula. There was no nature interference, no creating of wind, parting of water, nor hesitating of decay. It was simply the process of converting the imaginary activity known as magical energy into something real, before releasing it as heat. Thus, Akko's destructive power was equal to her supply of magical energy. The magic bullets she had used against Sojiro were among the most basic single-action magecrafts that did not require an incantation. At her prison ability, Akko's main mode of attack, her magic bullet, could be fired at 3 levels of power. These were at the 2nd level. This required a double-action magecraft with casting through actions for her crest combined with a simplified incantation. Was it Zack Snyder with all the slow-mo shots? However, without blinking, Alice dispersed a shot that Akko had mustered all of her spirit and fire. Tisk. Akko tutted in frustration. A swift sneak attack that used a simplified incantation would not be enough to break Alice's guard. As stiff as ever, I see. Don't you think that chill is making you complacent? Akko provoked Alice in order to disguise her own lack of composure. Somehow Alice seemed delighted by Akko's bravado. I suppose this is what they call fighting words. I've never fought to death for such a trivial reason. I am really shocked. Humans are such conceited creatures. Alice giggled. Smiling with heartfelt amazement, Alice gestured her left hand towards the earth. Stab, stab, zap. Countless utensils shot out from underneath the cobblestone paving to the plaza. Shizuki, get back. She grabbed his hand as she shouted, jumping backward before he even had a chance to respond. As if they had wills of their own, the utensils that had suddenly appeared from the ground gave chase. As the barbarian spearing grew around them, Akko and Sojiro put some distance between themselves and the clock tower. Okay. That's all you got? Just under 30 feet stood between them and Alice. The lethal weapons that had crumbled the stone beneath them fell short of what Akko had anticipated. They now encircled the clock tower, making the scene look like the burning of a witch at the stake. Isn't this backwards? You expect the spirits to try and stop us from escaping. The path behind them was safe. If they wanted, they could try to make a break for the main gate and escape. Are you sure about this, Alice? Sorry, but if you're going to let me escape, I'm not going to pass the chance up. Look at his face. What the hell? Look at that derpy face. He's like, is she fighting for me? If she could just make it back to town, it would be Aqua's win. All she wanted to do was let Sojiro get away from the knight, so if she could get him back to the city, it would be, for the most part, mission accomplished.
Huh?
Or so she had thought. Without even offering a glance at her targets below, Alice carefully and lovingly pulled out a bottle from her pocket. A green flask? What? Wait, that's... Damn it. Fire. Oh, that's fire. Her shot was deflected with ease. Gone with Aqua's earlier bravado. It was only natural. Akko had indeed grown as a mage. Over the last 2 years of study, her studies had progressed well, and she'd more or less gotten a grasp of her roommate's tenacities and abilities. Whoa! Okay, shit. Why is she bad? This had made her concede. Oh! What? I rewinded. Okay, so I'm putting this one down so that doesn't happen again. Oh, wait, let's fast forward a bit. This had made her conceited enough to believe that under favorable circumstances, she'd be able to show Alice a thing or two in the fight. No, that's not it. Oh. Alice uncorked the magical bottle. A gentle breeze caressed her cheek. Diddle Diddle fled as a new player stepped onto the stage. But from where would it enter? The sound of footsteps in nostalgic parade approached. What's going on, dude? What? Did she light up the whole place? Oh! That's a cool screenshot. No way. What emerged was a miracle that Aqua Azaki and Apprentice Mage had never witnessed. The dead came to life. The inanimate awakened. The woods were enveloped by the mist. Fire-breathing lizards lurked in the swamps. Puppets made of marionette at midnight. Alice Kanoji's slender fingers had transfigured the entirety of the park as if gently stroking the back of an elderly cat. Very well. Let's play pretend Aqua. For one night, the wasteland of Dash hopes and dreams were restored to its former glory. It was an immortal monster ready to devour reality. Whoa! Oh shit! She has like a third eye. A dark fairy tale that once unleashed would never let its prey escape. Run if you dare. I don't believe you'll get far, but if you can survive the night, I'll concede this round to you. Her declaration marked the start of a desperate battle. The witch in black laughed at her friend. Her musical mirth filled with affection, sadness, and innocent delight. What? Okay. Faded glory returned to Kitsy Land. The neon glow of innumerable lights illuminated the night. Speakers filled the air with the sound of bundle music, merry-go-rounds swung in a large world around her. All in all, it made for a mind-bending spectacle. It was certainly possible to carve the facility for transmuting mental energy into electricity via output. Oh, that's sad. The scale is too big. Simply splitting the part with electricity would not have brought back to life that which was broken. The young woman did not. Oh, what the? Wait! How do I turn off that auto? Wait! I have auto on, right? How do I turn this shit off? Oh, I got it. That's sad. Simply spending the park with electricity was not brought her life. Yeah, which was broken. The young woman did. Wait, is it? Okay, so now it's okay. The young woman did this. Did this not by mixing chemicals into a compound, but by melting down divine providence into a witch's brew? What the hell does that even mean? This is bad. I've seen her ploys, and this is something completely new. Sojiro is so like dumbfounded. What the hell is going on, dude? Set connecting. Stifling her anxiety, Aqua fired up the crest of her right arm. If magic circuits were Mage's engine, then their crest was software that assisted her magecraft. Okay. For the fledgling mage Aqua, this was her trump card. All she had to do was supply magical energy to her crest-based formula. It may not have been the strongest magecraft, but it was hers, proof that she was the successor of the Ayozaki lineage. Execute double air, direct current to crest. The pattern of her crest shifted to execute the formula, which then connected to her magical circuits. So she has 2 layers? The process resembled trains changing rails, a puzzle involving dozens of circuits. She constructed it as swiftly as possible without sacrificing the quality of its construction. Instant magecraft cast without an incantation would not be enough to reach Alice Kanoji. Aqua had gauged the strength of Alice's defense with her initial shots. She would dial up the power 5 times the next time, driving 20 tons of force into her target. What? That's a shit ton of force. Alice had the protection of thick hanging fog and a dense barrier around her. Okay. Yo, thanks for joining the stream, dude. However, this attack would be more than enough to pierce through both. If Aqua struck home, it could have in Alice's chest and end the fight. At worst, it would at least knock Alice's down from her position atop the clock tower. Hey. Hey, I have a question, man. Can we just, like, go out the back door? As always, there was one guy who spoiled the deadly tension, pulling Aqua out of killer mode. Sojiro had been looking back and forth between Aqua and Alice in confusion. What's going on? Fucking dude. What's going on, Alice? That's a funny ass screenshot, dude. What the? He's like, can we just leave now? He said it like he might ask for directions to the train station. What do we do? Normally, she would have lashed out in response, but his deadly seriousness tone shocked her rather than angered her. Unbelievable. Is this my life now? Aqua swallowed back a sigh and returned her focus to activating her crest. Negotiations have broken down. I pissed her off a bit too much. From her perspective, this is a good chance to kill me off along with the entire theme park, I guess. Nani? Sojiro tilted his head as if begging for a simpler explanation. She's really got it in for me. I can't even imagine what sort of depth she has in store if she catches me. What I'm saying is, neither of us are getting out of this alive unless we do something about her. Okay. So you're saying I got dragged into your quarrel? Yes, you did. Pretty much. That's funny. As Sojiro protested and intoned woolly and inappropriate to the situation, Aqua let another blast rip from her right arm. She was not aiming at Sojiro though. A little earlier in the day, Aqua would have been happy to do exactly that, but now her attention was focused on the girl in black atop the clock. That's 20 tons of force. That has to do something with this, right? Oh, she dodged. Nani? What happened? Aqua's mind struggled to catch up to her astonishment. She had fired the strongest, fastest magical bullet she had the ability to conjure, and Alice blocked it. That much was to be expected when Alice set her mind to defending herself. Such an attack was child's play. Is she blocking with the same string abilities from Fate Zero, right? But what just happened? I forget her name. Something Aqua had never seen before leapt to Alice's defense. The one that was the vassal for the Holy Grail. What was her name? A team of horses, a plague of locusts. No, those existed in the real world, unlike what Aqua had just witnessed. Normal creatures could not form like a spontaneous cloud of fog and then dissipate just as quickly into the night sky. Okay. The fuck? That looked like a cutscene for a sec, dude. That was trippy. Ew, that's so fucking creepy, dude. What? Impossible things moved in impossible ways. Alice was not even supplying them with any power source. Those things never needed power in the first place. Those broken and discarded things did not follow the rules of mankind. That's like a cutscene. Whoa. This was an invasion of fairy tales. What? Compared to them, the autonomous looked merciful. Autonomous puppets were products of magecraft, but even then, they behaved as puppets should. These newly animated things, however, were nothing of the sort. It's the freaking Disney. It's the Disney elephant with the long ears. What's his name? Oh shit, that's so fucking creepy, dude. Empty vessels became living creatures, dummies wrapped into the malformed being. There was a fog so dense with magical energy, it's visibly spread to all corners of the park, bringing with it a monstrous welcoming party that easily numbered over 1,000. 1,000? Oh shit, flashbang. Sprang on by the shuddering sensation running down her spine, Aqua fired a barrage of single-agent magical bullets. Her impulsive attack scattered futilely. The knights of the merry-go-round soared into the sky. Green fire-breathing lizards flocked. The bakeries opened their doors once again, and the human-sized loaves of fresh bread marched from their ovens as platoons of newly baked soldiers. What the? Ayozaki behind you. Aqua and Sojiro were completely surrounded. Is that fire in the background? No, it's the lights. The Ferris wheel creaked as it gently turned. A rickety train car raced around the roller coaster tracks with Kitsy Terrace streaming. That's so fucking creepy, man. Look, man, I hate dolls, man. I fucking hate Chucky. That shit is creepy, man. It was a grossly twisted fantasy. The girl in the black reigned over the insanity-fueled park. Oh, now we're screwed. Aqua was transfixed by the scene unfolding around her. Then she realized what was happening. What is happening? Oh, I know what this is. Alice has once told her of minister's familiars. Among them were 3 of particular notoriety, one which she recalled being capable of something similar to this, and it was called Ploikishwa. Flat Snark? I hope I read that right. Seriously, Aozaki, behind you. That's so creepy, dude. Oh, flashbang. Struck by Aqua's bullets, the creatures exploded into splinters. Okay. It was clear as Aqua shots were becoming more powerful, but it was also the case that these beings were less robust than your average automata. Shiozaki, this way. Aqua turned away from the clock tower, grabbed his hand, and began to run. Wait, Ayozaki. Sorry, no time. We're running. Running to where? It doesn't matter anywhere. That's so cool. Why? I gotta stop taking screenshots. She shouted as though trying to persuade herself as the Valandali cleared a path. Aqua's magic bullets flew like a scream. Blowing away the creatures that blocked or simply gathering around their path, she made a hole for them to escape through. Okay. Do we make it? Is Alice just testing her? I don't think she's actually trying to kill her. I feel like it's just a test. Magical bullets exploded like blue fireworks. Aqua and Sojiro ran down the bumpy brick road. Their bond, forced into the heart of battle, went far beyond mutual convenience. They headed for the park's exit at full speed without exchanging a word or a look. The weirdness only extended as far as the park border, so they would be safe as long as they made it outside. Oh, is that... I just realized that's fucking bread. But, speaking in pure numbers, the difference in strength was 2 versus an army. Or rather, 1 versus an army. Sojiro was hardly useful in the situation, and manpower wasn't really the issue here. Since they were facing the pup. Yeah, man, look, man, once he hits chest day, manpower is all we're gonna need, man. Once he hits chest day and gets those big biceps, we're good. Like, he just needs to hit the gym, and then manpower. You okay? Those are some giant pincers back there. Aqua shouted as she blasted away the monsters that stood in her path. There was no time to stop for breath or even to look back. Yeah, just barely. As Soldier pursued his voice till he naturally became show. 5 minutes earlier, they had broken out of the siege of the plaza surprisingly fast. It seemed that the residents' awakening differed case by case, with larger creatures taking additional time. So the smaller ones spawned quicker. We're lucky they're not the morning type. Akko joked as she mowed down the small fry that popped up. But then, oh, here comes a big one. Eh? Without warning, something outrageous extended its way down from above them. It was claws of the 60-foot lobster adoring the roof of the seafood restaurant. Even has a clock on it. Its pincers were like a guillotine. As Akko and Soldier cut across the front of the restaurant, the Red King pressed at a tremendous speed, Kingdom spinning them each into two. Suzuki, hard about this way's no good. The gate was just on the other side of the restaurant, but they had to take the long way around in order to lose a giant lobster snapping at their heels. Waiting along their detour have any horde of monsters too many to count. Yeah, just barely. Soldier called down in response, recalling just how narrowly he had avoided his head being severed clean from his body. In front of us, what the heck are those? Are they freshly baked? Freshly baked. It looks like, in other words, they're the cannon fodder. Akko halted her sprint and set her crest into full operation. Range 765 yards. At distance, snap, they'll take them down. Sliding along the brick path, she brandished her right arm. She loosened a shower of magical bullets. Snap was a single action spell that favored rate of fire over power and then mowed down the monsters with satisfying pops. Aozaki, more over there. Roger that. Ow, flashbang! Oh, flashbang! Oh, her explosion getting bigger. Blue explosions bloomed along the lamplit. I can't read that word. Promenade? You know what this reminds me of? The Blue Exorcist fight at the theme park. And then he lights up the whole place. Kind of reminds me of. Akko's carrot in the fire found out it was a marvelous storm fireworks show. The toy breaded men turned into charcoal. We can do this. They've got us overpowered in numbers, but this rate we'll be able to get out of here. Suzuki, how does it look over there? Looks clear to me. We should be able to approach the exit. Alice is already waiting there, huh? With a magical barrage that will leave an average spellcaster blue in the face, the novice mage broke through the siege. Oh, look at the cute little bird. Meanwhile, a single bird nearly watched everything unfold. Third party? It's like a third party mage? Is it the one that sent the... It's Alice's bird. Chirp, cheep, 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 chirp. Wow, I did the bird justice. The moment the bluebird descended into the master's field of vision and made its high-pitched call. The girl listened especially to the report. No matter, everything is going as expected. Even if she only knows how to shoot and destroy, the way Akko uses magical energy is extraordinary. Hastily formed familiars are no match for her. The robin flapped its wings as it tweeted in response. Perhaps it was criticizing Alice for complimenting Akko, or perhaps it was jealous of Akko for being praised by Alice. Alice could barely make sense of the chirping rant. How the hell does she know what she's saying? Akko Aozaki was a novice mage. Until just 2 years ago, she had grown up with no background in magecraft. Compared to Alice, who was raised as a witch from birth, Akko possessed far less talent and experience. There was simply no comparison to be made. In a contest of skills in magecraft, 10 times out of 10, Alice would be declared the victor. However, the narrative changed when it came to battle for life or death. Alice Kunoji's was not the type of mage suited to combat, while Akko Aozaki, on the other hand, was built for it. In a contest that pitted magical energy against magical energy, even Alice would concede that Akko had the upper hand. Oh! Akko's manipulation of magical energy was extraordinary. The scale of her magical circuits was smaller than that of Alice, but their rotational speed, durability, and output quality, not to mention efficiency, were otherworldly. That was Akko Aozaki's hallmark. Though she had many failings when handling sophisticated formulas, in just 2 years of practice, Akko has surpassed Alice's insipid formulas that merely required an energy input. She also had a genius instincts and adaptability. Though Akko was not particularly proficient at exceeding magecraft, she was terrifying fast. If she had been born outside of the Yaozaki clan, she would have doubtless risen to fame as a competitive sharpshooter. What a pity. In a straight shootout, Alice did not stand a chance. Oh, in a straight shootout, Alice did not stand a chance. Alice Kunoji had never bothered to learn primitive magecraft like magic bullets in the first place. Oh, she never learned that? She was the classic puppeteer. Her familiars served as her arms and legs to carry out all particulars of the battle. Clock's ticking, Akko. That's a nice screenshot. I'm happy to lend you all the ammunition you like, but after an hour, those bullets will be worthless. Wow, she's beautiful. Look at that. She looks so beautiful right there in the clock tower. Chirping as if in agreement, the robin took flight. It had been nearly 10 minutes since Alice had made the amusement park into her domain. To what will the green fog give birth next? Akko and Sojiro, still running about, would soon come to understand the gravity of their situation. Okay. Why? What's gonna happen? Shizuki is this way out. Yeah, the exit is just around that store. Running non-stop at full speed had them at their limits. The breath dragged the duo around the corner at breakneck pace. Amusement park though it was, this was still the infamous Dixieland. It would have taken a high school student 20 minutes to sprint the entire circumference of the really? Circumference of the park? It's that big? And though they were now intimately familiar with the park's geography, so trippy, dude. It's like everything came alive. I fucking love their derpy faces, dude. It's so funny. It was changing beyond recognition. The transformation was not limited to the park's residents either. Aozaki. What? I love their faces, man. Their expressions are so freaking funny. I hate to ask, but is it just me or is the park getting bigger? It's expanding. It was. Their problem wasn't as mundane as mistaking the location of the exits, nor the strange terrain. No, the park was wrapping and twisting in upon itself. Even as they ran, the structure was expanding and growing like that of a living creature. Soon the pair noticed that the mob encircling them had grown even stronger. Entrusting her back to Sojiro, Akko summoned all of her effort just to keep from whining. No one will blame Sojiro for cowering in shock, but for Akko to do the same, she bore responsibilities for causing and then dragging them into this mess. She could not afford to succumb to panic. Pull yourself together, Akko. The park has to end somewhere. It may be far, but the fence is right there. Even flat, CERN has limits. Getting to the exit is the right choice, I think. But from here it looks better. Oh shit, still got a mile? But from here it looks the better part of a mile. Up until now they had been too concerned with simply running. Their breathing had become labored. If they had to run another mile without rest, they end up collapsing along the way. Aozaki, how are you holding up? Physically, I mean. Yeah, it's getting good, dude. What? The whisper from behind pulled Akko back to reality. I'm fine, but I need to catch my breath. Good idea. We'll never make it outside if we don't rest. You know, I never would have thought you'd be okay with making a run for it. I ship him. She let slip a giggle. Far from deliberated by panic, her comrade in arms had been analyzing the situation, formulating an escape plan. Why don't we hole up in one of those buildings for a while? I don't like it, but it's their best option right now. The bread men had them completely surrounded. Perhaps this might have been a problem for an average person, but for Akko, breathing through this formation to get the building would be a cinch. The issue was which store to pick. Which store to pick. She considered the characteristics of transforming a park, what would pose a danger and what was safe. The most important factor was not strength or the complexity of the building. Keep it simple, stupid. Shizuki, this way. After routing the monsters, Akko hopped behind the counter, soon followed by Sojiro. Get behind the counter. Like she was in a Western shootout, Aqua squared off against the monsters using the counter as cover. Oh my eyes! Look at his fucking face, dude. Fucking Sojiro. He's so like dumbfounded watching all this shit unfold for him. Bingo, nothing in here can get snarkified. After asserting the current state of the enemy, Aqua sat down under the counter. What are they doing? They're waiting? They're snapping their foot in frustration because they're angry that they can't get in. Nani? So they're like outside the domain. Aqua gave the prefix Sojiro a grin and took a moment to catch her breath. She heaved a heavy sigh of relief and fatigue. Well, take 5 here. The restaurant is the blandest place in the park, which makes it their Achilles heel. The registers and utensils are all modern, and there are no mascot characters. It's just a bit too civilized for Snark? That's their name, though Alice is the one who came up with it. I think it doesn't really sound like her, but whatever, that's what they're called. Perhaps now at ease for knowing if they were safe, Sojiro seemed enthralled in her explanation. Ako could not help but chuckle as Sojiro nodded sagely. It was certain that he had no idea what she was talking about. Normally this would have irritated her, but this time she was grateful to the warmth of his strange sobriety. It's good that you seem better, Aozaki. Oh, he still loves you, even after everything you did to him. Mistaking her smile for composure, Sojiro broke into a smile himself. It was just another link in a chain of misunderstandings, but there was no need to redress it. Oh, you can tell? Yes, my magic bullets are getting more powerful. Well, you did chase me all around the house of mirrors while firing those things at me, so I guess I've become really familiar with them, for better or worse. Are you sure you're okay though? I remember you mentioned that you had a limited number of shots, but you fired at least 20 or 30 so far, right? You know, every now and then, you... Her opinion of him improved just a little bit. Oh. Never mind. My bullets increase in power is a simple matter of density of the magical energy. You've seen the fog around the park for a bit ago, right? It's all just magical energy. Think of it as fuel for my bullets. Oh, it's like a double-edged sword. So the domain is also boosting her magical ability. Ah, so she can absorb it. Magical energy was divided into 2 broad categories. First was odd, produce, and... Oh, wait! Let me read this again. Magical energy was divided into 2 broad categories. First is odd. Oh, man, my eyes twitching. I got too much caffeine in my body and not enough sleep. Woo! First was odd, produced inside a mage's body. Second was mana, which filled the atmosphere. Okay, so you have odd, and then you have mana. And there's a lot of mana outside. She's using that for her odd. At that moment, the amusement park had turned into a fairy tale land overflowing with mana. Although it meant nothing to the average person to a mage, it was a paradise where spells could be cast as much as one place. So that means you don't have to worry about how much magic whatever you have left. All we need to worry about are the injuries and stamina? Well, as far as our own lives are concerned, yeah. Okay. Sojiro breathed a sigh of relief. From Sojiro's perspective, more so than monsters she mowed down, Aqua was the biggest bully on the playground. She's the biggest bully. He had been concerned about what would happen should her magical energy be exhausted, but luckily for him, she was far from surrendering her crown. It's nice that you trust me and all, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. Those minions out there are just walking garbage. If Alice summoned any other fairy tale monsters, let alone the actual Snark making an appearance, there's nothing I'll be able to do. It's not good. Other fairy tale monsters? You mean there are others apart from the things park? Yeah, they're called Floyd Kickshaws, aberrations that even we mages can't stand to look at. They're nonsense lost to time, us to revive impossible fantasies. Okay, that doesn't sound good. Soldier's expression seemed to be calling her out of her I can't even read that. Soldier's expression seemed to be calling her out on the hip. I can't read that word. I know what it says. I just can't read it. That's so funny. Hey, most of us now have modern standards, you know? Obviously, then there are things we can't do, and we're no match for modern weapons. The 20th century will a bunch of wars of weapons technically catching up to us.
あの子の
But that
血
girl
が
is different. Is
どんなに
different.
人間の
But
技
that
術が
girl is a
進歩し
different
ようと
beast
関係ないって
altogether.
怪物なの。
Mankind's evolution can't hold a flame to her power.
例えばあの
Take
ブレッドマン
those
いるでし
breaded
ょ。
men, for instance.
あいつには自動拳
Something
銃と
like
か
a
効かないわ
machine gun
よ。
will have no effect on
多
them,
分
probably because
意
guns
味が
make
分か
no
ってい
sense
ない
to
から
them.
な。
What? Akko casually gestured outside past the counter.
アリスの使い魔は
Alice familiars are
全てが
mystics
空
needed
想
for
に前
fantasies.
提からして
They're
ありえ
all
ないことだか
impossible in
ら
the first place, so they
通常
don't
の物理
play
法則と
nice
折り合い
with
が
the
悪い。
laws of physics. They shouldn't come
空
as a
想と現
surprise
実は
since
両
fantasy and
立しないっ
reality
てい
can't
う。
exist together.
なるほど。
I see,
ブレッ
so
ドマン
they're
ってのは
literally walking
あの
loaves of bread. Sojiro seemed to have ignored the majority of Akko's explanation and only reacted to the part that caught his curiosity.
話を戻すけど
To get back on
あい
topic,
つらと近代兵器の相性は最悪。
stand a chance against
ロケ
those
ット弾で
things.
も効果はないわ。
Even rockets would be
意思の
useless.
疎通
They aren't
秩序
part
の
of the
共有
same
ができてない
order
か
of
ら。
shared consciousness as this. Whoa, wait, hold up! In Fate Zero, he was able to use guns. Oh no, he had magic bullets. Yeah, he had magic. Never mind.
プロイキッシャー
To
にとって
deploy kick
彼
shots
ら
to
の
the
世
fairy
界に
tale
は存
monsters,
在しない
anything
も
that
の。
doesn't
意味がわからない
exist
も
in
の
their
は
world,
触れ
anything
る
that
ことな
doesn't
く
exist in
無
their
産
world,
する。
anything that don't understand disintegrates before it can't even touch them. Really?
彼らに通じるのは
Only something
同
equally
じ神秘を帯び
nonsense
た
can
魔
touch
力だ
them,
けっ
like
ていう
magical
デタラ
energy
メぶりよ。
infused with the same levels of mystics.
もう完
They
全に
exist
概念空
wholly
間
in
って
their
いう
own
か
conceptual space
概念
or
宇宙
cosmos.
っていうか
Okay.
うーん。
That's a funny face.
要する
In
に
short, they're
あい
protected
つ
by
ら
a
は伝
special
承
rule
防御
known
っていう
as
特別な
folklore
ルールを
defense,
持っていて
meaning
単純に
that
強い
neither
力
pure force nor
強い
strong
魔術じゃ
nature
効
have
果は
much
薄い
effect.
の。
They can't be taken down
元になった
without
童話に
exploiting
ち
the
なんだ欠
weaknesses
点をつ
found
か
in
ないと
their
倒せん。
original
ギリ
stories.
シャ神話のアキ
Are
レ
you
スあたり
familiar
分
with
か
the
りや
Greek
すい
myth
例えなん
of
だけど
Achilles? Oh,
知ってる？
I know Achilles. He's from Fate Zero, dude. It's a good straightforward example. Sojiro shook his head.
そう
Of course you
無事帰れ
aren't.
たら
If
飛
we
び
get
丸あた
out
り
of
に
this
教えてもら
alive,
って
have Tobimaru
定
tell
番
you
だけ
about
どいい
it.
話よ
It's
あれ。
a cliche, but it's a good story. Sojiro was feeling pretty lost, but he did his best to grasp the situation. He thought that ploy kickshaws were scary enough to chase Aqua and the puppet from before out of the house barefoot. Certainly the scene before them was the stuff of nightmares, but Sojiro had a different way of thinking.
やっぱり
I think you're more scared than me,
青崎の方が怖くないか。
Aozaki.
あんた死ぬの？
Do you want to die? That's funny. Sojiro waved in protest, silently pointing out that she had made his case for him.
あのね、
Listen to me,
今
the
私
things
たちを
surrounding
取り
us
囲
now
ん
are
で
a
る
little
の
more
は
than
アリス
fodder.
にとって
As far as Alice
あ
is
のブレッ
concerned,
ド
the
マン
bread
も
man,
ロブ
the
スターも
lobsters,
ソーセージ
the
屋のミン
meat
チマシーン
minister
も
at the sausage
全
place,
部が全部私が打ってるマダンより価値がない。
they're all worth even less than my magical bullets are to me.
いい？
Got it?
あの動
The
くマスコッ
moving
トたちは
mascots
ね、
and all the rest of
た
her
だのお
sideshow
まけ
were
なの。
nothing more than the breath
ア
of
リ
the
スが
monster she unleashed.
呼吸ってこ
These
れが
things are just the breath. What?
私だって
They're
考
just a
えた
what?
く
Yeah,
ないわ
crazy, I
よ。
know.
でもそれが
But
現
that's
状。
what we're dealing with
た
right
った
now.
一
Just
体
one
の
of those
童話
fairy
の
tale
怪物
monsters
だけ
is
で
enough to keep us
私た
busy.
そういうわけだから
So if
ア
Alice
リスがあ
decides
と
to
1
add
体でも
another,
追
we
加
might
した
as
ら
well
諦
give
め
up.
て。
Oh, okay. We might as well give up.
追
Okay,
加
what's
って
next? Add
これに
another.
制限
Isn't
は
there
ないの
some
か？
sort of
あの
limit?
子が出し惜
If
し
she
みしなけれ
decides
ば
not to be stingy, she
まだ
has a
何
few
体か
more
ス
up
ト
her
ックはあるで
sleeve.
しょう
Though
けど、
well, there are conditions to bringing them out.
例えば
Like
川
one
がない
monster
と
that
目を
won't
覚
wake
ま
up
さない
if
怪
there's no
物もい
river
る。
nearby.
この遊園
The
地
park has
噴
fountain
水はある
share,
けど
but
川
no
はない
river,
で
right?
しょ。
Her familiars are bound by their
元になっ
underlying
た童話
stories.
縛りなの。
What?
童話って
By fairy
かけ
tale,
そ
you
ばと
mean
か
like the one about a bowl of soba noodles?
ここに川が
Let
ない
me
の
tell
は
you,
不幸
it's a
中の
small
幸い
mercy.
ね。
There's no rivers here.
も
Otherwise,
しあったら
something way
もっと
better
直
at
接制
squishing
圧
us
に
would
向い
have
たや
appeared
つが
by
出て
now.
きてた。
Akko continued, completely ignoring Sojiro.
話の続きだけど
Anyways, as
ア
I
リ
was
スの
saying,
魔術の基
the
本は
foundation of
マザー
Alice's
グース
Minecraft is Mother Goose.
って
What?
知らないか。
Right, you wouldn't know
イギ
that
リスの
either.
歌
Mother
で
Goose was an
遊び心
author
に
of
富んだ
whimsical
メルヘン
English
た
nursery
だ
rhymes.
そ
To
っ
be
ち系の
honest,
プロイ
this
キッシャ
type
ーは
of
怖
ploy
くないの。
kickshaw isn't all that
みんな
scary.
それなりに
Taking
なん
them
とか
down
魔
with
術に
some
も落
form
とし
of
込める
Minecraft
範囲
is
だか
totally
ら。
possible. Okay?
聞きたくないんだけど
I'm afraid to
そっち
ask,
系
but
じゃ
what
ない
about
の
the
は
scary kind then?
マザーグー
Oh
スを
shit,
下
that's
地
a
にし
river.
た
They
と
flow
ある
another
創
fairy
作童
tale
話
inspired by
系。
Mother
あの
Goose.
子のお母さんが
Alice's
好きで
mother was
ね。
particularly fond of it,
こ
and
っ ち系の
single
は
one is
どい
bizarre.
つも
No
こいつも
mate
尋常
wants
じ
to
ゃな
go
い。
up against one of those
で、
things. As
こ
it
の遊
happens,
園
that's
地を生
exactly
き
what
返ら
brought
せ
the
たの
park
は
back to life.
多分
I'm
フラ
pretty
ッ
sure
トスナー
it's
クって
one
や
she
つだと思う。
calls flat snark.
私も聞
Though
き
I
流してい
wasn't
たから
particularly paying
詳し
attention,
くは
so
わ
I'm
か
a
らな
little
いけど
hazy on the details. Sojo swallowed the discomfort making its way up to his throat. He really wanted her to explain things a little less vaguely, but something she had just said necessitated further investigation.
待て青崎。
Wait a second,
あの
Ayazaki.
子の
You
話
mean
を
to
聞
tell
き
me
流
you
したっ
weren't
て
paying attention?
なんで？
いや、
Well,
説明してもらったのは随分と前だし、あの頃はアリスの話あんまり信じられなかったのよね。私が素人だと思って大げさに自分の魔術を語ってくれてるな、舐められてるなとか。
And true, if anyone hadn't taken the lesson seriously, it was Akko. She will learn the lessons firsthand soon enough when she experienced just how real Alice's monsters were. She'd also discover how heretical the minister of witchcrafts truly were in the world of Matriarch.
その聞き流した内
And you
容は
remember anything else about them?
何でも強力な
From
結
what I
界を張る
understand,
プロイ
it's
だ
a
って。
ploy that puts up a powerful
アリ
bound
スが
field.
受け継いだプロ
Alice
イは山ほ
inherited a
どあ
lot
るけ
of
ど、
ploys, but this is one
捨
of
てられ
her
たもの、
finest. It takes
忘れられた
discarded
も
and
のを
forgotten
童話
things
的に
and
蘇ら
resurrects
せるや
them,
つで、
like what happens
今
in
まで
fairy
誰も
tales.
破ったことがないとか。
Supposedly nobody ever defeated
そ
it.
れでついたあ
Oh,
だ名
and
が
its nickname is
フ
the
レ
Untouchable.
フラ
So
ット
it's
スナ
not
ー
Flat
ク
Snark
じゃ
or
ない
whatever
の
it
か？
was. No.
それもあだ名。
That's just a nickname
と
too,
にかく
since
正体
nobody
がわからないや
knows
つばっか
what
り
its
なんで、
real form is.
一
They
つの
picked
個
up a
体に
few
複
names
数の名
along
前
the
が
way.
付けられるの。フラットスナーク
One
は
of
その
them
中
is
でも
Flat Snark, and its
正体
ranks
不明さはトッ
high
プランクの
among
デタラメぶりよ。
her other nonsense in terms of how little it's known about it.
あなた、
Have
ル
you
イス・
heard
キャロ
of
ル
the
の
book
スナー
The
ク狩り
Hunting
って
of the
本
Snark
知っ
by
てる？
Lewis Carroll? I have not
いや、
heard of that.
そもそも
No.
ルイス・キャ
And
ロル
who
と
is
いうのは
Lewis Carroll?
そっからか。
Okay, then let's start from the beginning. Professor
ドジスン教授は
Dodgson
そう
was
ね、
he was a delusional
特殊
gentleman
性
with
癖を持
a
った妄想
particular
紳士ってと
what
こ？
disposition.
まあ
Not
こっ
that
ち
it
は別に
matters
どう
right
でもいい
now.
か。
It's a waste of time to explain to someone.
今重要なのは
What's important
彼
is
が
that
残し
the
た
work
スナー
left
ク狩りは
behind.
ね、
The Hunting of the
スナ
Snark
ー
is
ク
a
って
book
呼ば
about
れ
a
る
band of
正
adventurers
体
who
不
try
明
to
の怪物
capture
を
an
捕まえようと奔
unidentified
走す
monster
る
known as the
冒
Snark.
険
Okay. Oh, my
タルル
camera.
らしい。皮肉ばっちり。
How long
死
has
に
my
滅
camera
裂
been like that?
意味不明。
It's very
結末不在
Carol,
の本当に
satirical,
困った本
nonsensical,
で、
and cryptic. It
一
doesn't
行は島
even
で苦しみつつ、
really have an ending
最終
either,
的には
though
スナー
the
クを見つけるもの
party
の、
does ultimately
見
find
つ
the
けたベ
Snark
イカー
on
は
its
唐
island
突に
after
姿
much
を消し
hardship.
て終わって
It
しまう。
ends up with the protagonist who found it, the baker suddenly
よ
disappearing.
くわからないもの探しに
It's
奔
a
走す
satire
る人
about
間の
people
風
who
刺な
run
んだ
about
けど、
basically trying to find
この
something
遊
they
園
don't
地において、
understand. But
誰
when
が
it
ベイ
comes
カ
to
ー
the
で、
park here, it's pretty
何が
clear
ス
who
ナー
the
クかは
baker
言う
is
まで
and
も
who
ない
the
でしょ。
Snark is, right? Wait, if you're running like that, then you're not going to be able to exit. Akko elected not to share this, but Flat Snark had other popular names as well. Oh my god, I cannot read that. The Enigmatic Island, the five-dimensional plane. These names were not given to it by Alice, but rather muttered by mages whom the ministers defeated. And mathematic snark is a term used in graph theory to refer to contradictory and impossible planar graphs. A plane proven to be unable to exist in the world was given the name, apt for an ill-fated existence, paradoxical in nature. The fairy tale monster ascribed to this name was said to hold no form discoverable by man. Akko also declined to mention something else. Flat Snark was a fairy tale monster that could grow. It would hide somewhere in the amusement park, continually exhale the magical energy until the park completely transformed into a fantasy land. Well, it's not like there's any point in scaring them.
何か言ったか？
Did you say something, Ayazaki?
別に
Nope, I was
簡
just
単に
thinking
言って
Flat Snark's
童
power
話
is
世
the
界
ability
の
to bring
再
fairy
生
tale
が
worlds
こ
to
の
life.
遊園地との
When you
相性
think
は
about it,
抜
the
群で
park
しょう
makes
ね
the perfect backdrop. I
何しろ
mean, it was
元々が
originally a playground
童
based
話を
on
元
fairy
にした
tales anyways. If this had been a business distract, for example, Flat Snark would have posed far less of a threat. At most, his power would be limited to projecting the shadows of a dinosaur onto a building's window panes.
あ、だ
So
から
that's
ここ
why
は
it's
安
safe.
全だって。
Huh? Sojiro realized that something was wrong when he noticed a glutinous liquid dripping onto his back. He looked up to the ceiling. Their eyes met. Before he had a chance to think, Sojiro hopped up from the floor.
青崎外だ!
Ayazaki, get out now. Taking the initiative, he jumped out from behind the counter.
バカ、何して!
Are you mad? What do you think you're? Trying to stop him from committing an act of suicide, she also came to her feet. Immediately, she noticed something coming to life overhead. What the? Oh crap. Is it the roof? It's the building. The building came to life? Oh my god, that was close. The gargantuan mouth clamped shut with no mascot to speak of. The burger joint itself began to transform into one giant monster.
もう なんで天井にピエロの絵なんて描いてんのよ、あの店。
Who the hell paints a giant clown on the
普通もっ
ceiling?
と違うところに労力割
Something
かな
they
い？
shouldn't have flexed
そ
on
んな
their
ピエ
creative
ロが好きなら
muscles
入れる時
somewhere
でも
else.
飾っ
If
と
they
け。
like clowns that much, why didn't they put it at the entrance? Akko aired out her grievance as she ran. There was no safe haven left. Moment by moment, the last remnants of civilization were beginning to erode away from fairy tales. That's pretty funny. What's next? Is that a fucking dragon? What the fuck? All the buildings are coming to life? The amusement park had reached the final stage of snarkification. It was not just the mascot characters that had been granted life, like the burger joint, even the buildings had begun to transform. The roller coaster that made its way about the park writhed and twisted like a Chinese dragon. What? Akko and Sojo stared dumbfounded by the Ferris wheels, which had grown to over 250 feet in height. Hordes of... I choked on my saliva. Hordes of red men closed in on them as if to offer tickets. I'm telling you, the line is under control. I like this music now. Mobs of trinkets, actual kickshaws ramped the park. Whenever a hole was punched in the envelope, it was instantly filled. It was a battle of attrition with no end in sight. But that was a matter of course if there were few fairy tales about limited resources.
なんかどうしようもないぞ。こいつら増える一方だ。
スナーク本体を探して。童話の怪物には本体に当たる器物があるの。それさえ壊せば遊園地から出られるはず。本体ってどんな？
A body? What kind of body?
さっき言ったでしょ。童話の怪物は現実にないものだって。今までいなかったおかしなやつとか現実じゃありえないもの、それが本体。
おかしなやつって例えば。
Weird or impossible. I need an example.
だから。
Do I have to spell out for you?
命のある人形とか空飛ぶゴーカートとか。
Akko paused her firing for a moment. After saying this out loud, she realized just how deep their grave was dug. The amusement park was a treasure trove of fairy tale-esque creatures on any given day. Who could say it was impossible amidst the newly transfigured knickknacks running around? Bro, is that dragon? Damn, everything in here is weird. So it's hiding in plain sight. It's the clock tower. Hoping that she was wrong, Akko bit her bottom lip. Flat Snark was the type of toy that deployed down the fields. Seeing as it was coming so many familiars, it would not be unusual for its main body to have little or even no defenses. Furthermore, if it was molded from a story about it being untouchable and unidentifiable, it would be illogical to assume that it would collapse in and of itself shortly after being discovered. Which means we find that we win. With something so fragile really hide amongst its minions, they do say that the best place to hide a leaf is in the woods. Not that train. This was closer to the truth than Akko realized. As long as there was the slightest possibility of being hit by one of Akko's stray bullets, it would not dare to appear in front of them. Okay, its true form was orchestrating the park from somewhere safe. I'm sure we've seen it already. It's the subject of a book named after it. If it's not standing out of every page, it has no right to be the title character. But where? The clock tower. It's either the clock tower or the Ferris wheel. Put very simply, the Ferris wheel was the safest location in the park as well as a symbol of its past glory, perhaps. What if we just tried to catch her instead? Her eyes opened wide as a sudden suggestion. While Akko had been trying to come up with a plan to overcome the stalemate, it seemed Sojo had been racking his brain as well. His proposal... Is it the bird? His proposal was a simple one. If they could not find the snark, they just needed to take out its master Alice. Alice had not moved at all from the clock tower. Even from here, they could make out her figure draped in moonlight. That's the worst move we could make. Even if we killed her, it wouldn't stop the snark and all its absurdities would just roll over to the outside of the park. Oh shit. Not to mention I can't even kill her in the first place. At best, I can only get halfway there. A breadman angered at the insult hurled towards its master, moving attacks as mercifully burned to his ribs. It was mad. The two stood back to back, catching their breath. With no plan to speak and no route of escape, they had reached the rock bottom. Meanwhile, the oddities were forming a circle around their prey as if they smelled blood in the water. Were they to be dragged into bakery for the oven, minced in the meat grinder at the butcher shop, skewed and paraded around atop the carousel, walked the plank of the thorny pirate ship. After 2 years of slumber, they were eager to welcome their new guests. There's something I need to ask you, Aozaki. What is it? Keep it snappy, I'm thinking here. Okay, it's painfully clear what these things want to do with us, but what about her? Does she enjoy this? I don't think she is.
その疑問はなかった。連中の人間嫌いは遊園地の怨念とフラットスナークの性格じゃない。基本的にまともなやついないからアリスの使い魔って。ああ、でも
Now that you mention it, Akko was unable to deny that there were some similarities.
それは結構。
Good to know. So you did come up with anything, Aozaki. How do we stop them?
期待させて悪いけどお手上げ。あんたが殺されれば止まるでしょうけど。
それは嫌だ。
No thanks.
とりあえず逃げよう。
No thank you. Let's just get out of here.
え、
Hey, wait, Aozaki. Did he pick her up? Oh. She blinked in surprise at the sudden turn in events. Sojiro, who had until now just been meekly following her lead, had grabbed Akko's hand and pulled her with him into a head charge onto the swarm of bread in an attempt to break out of the encirclement. Oh, fuck, he just ran for all of them? Are you out of your mind? How on earth did you figure this is what to do next? Akko nonetheless followed Sojiro's uncharacteristically gunge-ho led, cursing him all the while. Alone, he had no chance of breaking through the surrounding wall of enemies with brute force. Akko regained her bearings and let fly a spray of magical bullets ahead of Sojiro. Okay. How the hell? What is the freaking thing that's... Or was it flat start? How they burst through the net and ran as hard as they could. At this point, all that was left to do was what they had planned from the outside. Oh, I did not read the whole thing. But not before addressing what they needed to be addressed. Where the hell did that come from? Hadn't you already given up back at the House of Mirrors? Akko could not begin to comprehend Sojiro's reaction.
ミラーハウスの時と今は違うだろ。いいから走れ。
違わないわよ。あんたを殺そうとした私も、あんたを殺したいアリスも、理由だけ。
Though she wondered what she was getting her so worked up, Akko did not stop. She told herself that the degree of Sojiro's stupidity charging the bread man so recklessly has called her to lose her cool.
あのね、一緒に逃げてるぐらいで勘違いしないでくれる？言っとくけど私、明日になったらまたあんたを殺しに行くから。死にたくないってんなら、ここで私からも逃げ出したら？
それはまた今度の話だろう。だいたい青崎に殺されるのならいいけど、あの子に殺されるのは嫌だ。
I won't be killed by her, dude. Like I said, why the hell not?
だって顔も知らない。
I don't even know
話したことさえない
what
相手
she
だ。
looks like, nor have ever spoken to her. What? It seemed like someone had doused water over her blazing fury. What? Akko's anger was snuffed out by the observed simplicity of his reasoning. Because you don't know what she looks like? Could it be that Sojiro did not mind being killed by someone as long as he had met them? Akko grimaced as she followed him. From her spot atop the clock tower, the girl observed the growth of her familiar, Blatsnart. A savior of the discarded, it was a vile, vocally fairy tale monster who provided those abandoned by fate with a glimmer of hope. Fate? I understood that reference. Before snatching it away, Alice had it under her control, but she was still needing to keep the snark from expressing its bad habits. After completing a lap around the park that had now reached the size of an entire town, the robin made its situation report. So they're trying to get out. That's the snark. It seemed Akko was prioritizing the safety of the boy, even if it resulted in wasting an entire day choosing not to capitulate on a decision, was very much like her. That's too bad. I was sure Akko would attempt to burn down the clock tower and me with it. The bluebird cheeped in response. Was it denying its master's portrait of Akko, or agreeing that it was Akko's style to do exactly that? An outsider might interpret its interjections either way. Does this bore you? The robin jumped at being addressed so unexpectedly. It chirped and flapped its wings like a flustered servant, frantic to say otherwise. It's rare for us to get along so well. Okay, then if it's a game she wants, a game she'll get. Let's liven things up a bit, shall we? Calmly, she pulled out a small object from her pocket. It was a dark gray Easter egg, and emanating from inside was the ticking of a clock. Oh shit, it is a clock. The Robin knew it to be a ploy kickshaw with a bad attitude, far exceeding flat snarks, knowing to be among the best in a one-of-a-kind situations. That does not sound good. Go, I've set the exotiling time for 20 minutes. What? Is it only gonna go for 20 minutes? Break in that subtle way of yours? And together with the witch's breath, the egg filled with praise disappeared. What's gonna happen now? Suddenly, a strong wind swept through the park. The words, "I could have killed them all myself," floated through the air. It was the disappointment of something enormous that was visible to all, yet overlooked. What's gonna happen? I really hope all the construction noise isn't being picked up outside. Aqua and Sojo continued their dash towards the boundary separating the park from outside. The courier horde that stood in their way had reduced in number. The iron fence that separated the two of them from the outside world was just over 300 yards away. Fortunately, there were no particularly large buildings barging their path. If the first had stood in their way, that would have spoiled the end, but thankfully it had yet to reach its full strength. The only things that appeared before them were weak oddities that could easily be handled by Aqua's simple mage grip. At this rate, we just might. She would have said make it to the fence if only lunch would allow it. Since Aqua was utilizing the ample mana filling the park, her tank of magical energy was nearly full. Moreover, the condition of her body's circuits were steadily improving to the extent that she would be able to unleash at least one all-out onslaught. Until something unusual was hovering above their field of vision. It was locked on Sojiro, hovering 10 feet above him, over to one side. Suzuki, look. Well, that thing, it's been on us for a while. Sojiro has similarly noticed it before Akko, hence his previous awkward glances towards the sky. In truth, it would have been stranger for him not to notice the thing was practically glued to him. What the fuck is going on? What's going on? In terms of its size, the floating object measured about 3 feet in diameter, okay? Tiles covered its exterior, above which a multitude of spinning lights danced about. What the hell? Is that an egg? Dude, that reminds me of like the freaking Holy Grail from like Fate Apocrypha. It was like enveloped in an egg, right? Is that an egg? Sojiro asked, or it looked like an embryo, like a really big embryo. Sojiro asked, not really sure what to call it. An egg? If it's an egg, then that means it'll crack. That's not good. What came first, the chicken or the egg? Her bullets bounced off it like it made of rubber. The trait, the ability to deflect all outside interference, confirmed to Aqua that this thing was undoubtedly a ploy kick shock. I cannot read that word. Knew it. I can't break its rules from the outside, so I have to break it from the inside. So you don't take your eyes off it even for a second. No matter what happens, keep your eyes locked on it, even if it's just for the corner of your vision. Okay. Aqua picked up her pace as she barked orders. The Eggman sat on the wall. He will crack just as the tail spoke. Nothing anyone can do or say would cause him to fall, but the moment they stopped looking, he would tumble down and break into pieces. All the king's horses and all the king's men could put him back together again, or so it said. It was the Mother Goose poem, Humpty Dumpty. If Sojiro was its target, then the moment he averted his gaze, it would tumble and explode. Except for the exploding part, who knows what will happen when it falls. Either way, it was going to scatter something troublesome when it fell. Its overall shape, the keyhole, adorning the front and writing inscribed upon them, they all made her anxious. If it was an egg, that meant it was going to hatch at some point. Even if he continued his stare, once the time came for whatever was inside to come out, they would have less ability to conserve their energy. Ayazaki, slow down, would you? If you use up all your energy now, you'll forget about what comes next. Just focus on watching that egg. Okay. At this critical juncture, bread men stepped onto the... What? Stepped onto the joint of the egg and blocked their path. Out of the way. The bread men were marching forth in a grand battalion. At her level of firepower, Akko should have easily mowed them down, however. However, what? Are they just spawning now? These have hard crusts. Take this. Oh, is she doing the double layer thing again? Whoa! Okay. If Snap failed to do the job, that meant it was time for her to put her crest to use. Draw a formally triggering bullet and kept in a full wind jacket. If her previous shots were the equivalent of a machine gun volley, then this was her artillery shots. Okay, we've leveled up. Whoa! Fucking Excalibur up in here, dude. The hard crust bread that had absorbed her snap without a dent scattered into the thousands of tiny pieces at her draw torrent. Whoa. Of course, the destruction did not end with just the breaded man. What had once been a brick road was now thoroughly stripped of its pavement. The nearby stalls had been wrapped into twisted steel skeletons. That's pretty funny. It was a spectacle that made Sojiro question what was the greatest obstacle to their escape. Was a wall of breaded men or Akko's ability to lay waste to the things. Hey, don't wander off. It's dangerous if you don't sit close to me. Come on, get closer. We're out of strikes, you know. If they surround you, you're a goner. You should know hostages don't mean squat to me, and it's not like I can pick out my targets precisely anyway. This made a lot of sense to Sojiro. He had not fully appreciated the part about hostages, but he got the gist of it. So basically, I'm in danger no matter where I stand. You. Offended though she was by his typical naive responses, she could not help but be impressed. Sojiro was a straight arrow through and through. His eyes stayed firmly focused on the egg overhead, even amidst the chaos of the melee unfolding before him. I don't know why I worry. You may not be the sharpest tool, but you sure are good at following orders. One thing, Ozaki, am I imagining it, or do those breaded men seem tougher than before? No, you weren't imagining that. They're getting stronger. They must have nailed down their mass production process, so they've turned their attention to upping the quality. As you figured out already, they're just going to get tougher as we go. It seems like even those breaded guys have started to develop individually. Okay. I hate to think about it, but they might just start spreading themselves with jelly or worrying other feelings emerging with one another. Oh. Though she was joking, her eyes were dead serious. Sojiro shuddered at thought of the situation growing even more dire. So you're saying that those guys are going to become as terrifying as the puppet from the House of Mirrors soon? Oh, you can count on it, and I'll have my hands full with bread that rare. Say, Suzuki, think you can handle yourself against one of those? No. Sojiro shook his head, a look of complete aversion upon his face. I didn't think so, so let's get moving so we can't afford to hang around here. Akko took a quick, deep breath, then began to sprint once again. Far in the distance through the fog, the iron fence waited 300 paces away. As long as nothing happened, they would make it there in one piece. Okay. Sojiro followed after Akko, holding onto that all too convenient hope. Okay. But hope was something even ever fleeting. In fact, it lasted not even 300 yards. The edge of the amusement park may well have been the edge of the world. Which means it doesn't exist. I understood that reference. Are we almost there? We made it to the gate. Whoa, what the hell is going on? Dozens of underlying horizons could be seen, crowding the sky like a giant cloud or a thick curtain, or perhaps groaning lips. It was the end of the road, the utter limit of an outrageous and fantastical realm. And yet, Akko found it to be much like the last page of an enormous picture book. There's no escape. Their sight turned her mind blank. Well, this is about as bad as it gets, she thought. The snark, this island of despair, had at least brought Akko to her knees as she stared at the swelling border. The park indeed had an end. Even now, as Akko and Sojiro had expected, a fence divided the amusement park from the residential area. Oh, I didn't read the whole thing. It had both doubled in height and... What? And been made sturdier. Another hurdle... What? Another hurdle she had foreseen before even laying eyes on it. Expecting it to have been a snark field, Akko had come prepared to demolish an obstacle or two. But this construction before her went far beyond a mere... Oh, I didn't even know I can do that. Went far beyond a mere wall. What? It was an ocean that separated the underworld from the immortal one. The iron fence was like a restless surging sea. 1 or 2 walls could easily be toppled. Even 10 or 20 could be dealt with one way or another. Between the power left in her body and the which filled the park, putting on a brave front was within her power. She could fully mobilize her circuits and her crest to the point of burnout and a last-ditch effort like some reenactment of the parting of the Red Sea. But then, that would be it. Even if a path could be opened, she would not have the energy left to walk it. And it was obvious what would become of her afterwards. The residents would hardly forgive her for wreaking such havoc around their park. Like ants drawn to the honey, they would swarm the helpless girl and tear her to pieces. Disappointed and exhausted, she felt the faint sting of remorse, escaping the park. Looking back on how they had gotten here, Akko recognized that her choices had been her underdoing. What? Really? Really? So she thought it was all meaningless? They should have just found the snark, right? Under the golden full moon, beams of steel bent and merged like wireframe sculptures. It was only a matter of time before the amusement park itself became one colossal monster. Zay. You never know, bro. Maybe it can work out. The horde of familiars... Oh, bro, I'm telling you. Maybe it can freaking work. I can see it. The horde of familiars gathered in the plaza where Alice was had formed an impenetrable blockade around her. Like, she'll be the freaking one, and then Gastella will be the loving one. Just above the head of the boy besides her, the whispering ant called Scratch Dumpy continued to shuffle what appered to be its surface. Kate and her. I'm telling you, I think that's where that arc is going, and LSC, dude. Shiozaki. They reached the dead end? The boy's voices snapped Akko out of her trance. If only for a moment, the stark reality of the situation quickly dawned on the novice mage. The sheer hopelessness of it all, as if ripped out and snatched away. Oh, I didn't read the whole thing. Let's head for the gate. It's hopeless here, but we might have a chance at the entrance. That flat start thing, you said it has its own set of rules to follow, right? Then what we need to think about the basics. The fence would have been impassable from the start, but the gate might still work as an entrance and an exit. Sojiro had not given in to panic, okay? Akko found herself honestly admiring Sojiro's ability to analyze Snark's characteristics given the circumstances. Now, calm, she steeled her resolve. You're right, the gate is a good option. But just getting there will be a challenge. Even the weakest enemies, those lows, are becoming harder to deal with. Plus, the best of her familiars are just going to keep gathering in the plaza and the entrance. I mean, the gate itself might be a monster even worse than the Ferris wheel. It's designed to look like a giant kitsy. So you're not going to the front gate? Nah, we have a better chance over here. Because the front gate can just come alive. Akko took another glance at the underlying iron fence. It was too late to achieve their goal of making it out alive. In that case, she decided to prioritize the other promises she had made. I'm gonna go ahead and break down the fence here. You have to escape once you see an opening. Then my job will be done. Though her words were few, her tone told the whole story. She was telling him to escape. Okay. It's not possible? You can't destroy them by yourself, Ayazaki. Teach him magic! If I were by myself, you'd be right, but right now the park is actually helping me. With this much fuel, all I need to do is aim and pull the trigger. One good blast should be enough. That said, I'll only be able to do it once, so as soon as I open a hole, I need you to run like a light depends on it. She will carve a path through this iron sea of fences, gambling on a final effort, a great incantation to launch the biggest projectile. Oh, I didn't read the whole thing again! As an outsider, Sojiro could not even begin to imagine how much of a burden this would be for her. All he can imagine was a hazy vision of Akko being left behind in the spark. What would happen to her? Would that girl in black come to save her? Cruel as it was to imagine, he knew she would not. After Akko had exhausted her very best in order to save him, that girl would not stay her hand. The only way Alice would let Akko off the hook was if Akko killed Sojiro as payment. And so, get back about 50 feet. She's gonna blow a hole, right? I'll take the time to cast it, but I'll make sure she finishes before the egg gets hard-boiled. It went without saying that this was the only path. Wait, I want to know, is there even a point in letting me go? None. Even once you get out, there's still no way you'll be able to escape Alice forever. But I'm stubborn to the very end. I said I'd protect you, so I'm damn well going to do my best to keep you alive. I like her character already. Surprised by her seemingly immortal stance, Sojiro saw Akko in a new light. What's he gonna say? Ah, but of course. Sojiro realized that she was not fighting for his sake, but for the sake of her pride. Right, I guess you did say that. But it's not like you want to let me go by myself. Oh, give me a break. Just move already. That's funny. Akko eased off just a bit. She recalled how an hour ago he had gotten the better of her. Aozaki, if you're still willing to fight, then let's do it the other way. If you can destroy the monster of offense, then let's put your power to better use. There isn't anything else I can do. Sorry, but all I can do is destroy what I can see. Dying for some forlorn hope isn't how I want to go out. Don't you get it? The fact is, blowing this thing up will let you slip out for all I can manage. I can't beat Flat Snark or anything else. It's the least I can do after. So you're going to run from this responsibility too. Akko was just about to turn back on him when Sojiro clutched her hand. His words caused something inside her to boil with rage. It was as though someone had set her heart on fire. The surprise that pricked open her true feelings, and the disappointment she felt towards herself through her frozen limbs. Why you? Don't get it backwards. I'm the one letting you escape, not the other way around. I'll blow the whole damn park if I like it. Just you watch. Okay, in that case, it'd be better to waste... What? It'd be a waste to help me escape right now. Save that move for when you really mean it. I'll give you a hand until then. Huh? You help me? Talk about it waste of time. Thank you, Zay. Yandere. There you go. Now you're really pissing me off. Just get out of here, you dimwit. What use do I have for Dunes whose special power is running himself raged? Yeah. Gestella is the tsundere, and then Miyoru is the yandere. So look. Kaden already has 2 character types. I may be pretty exhausted, but you're in worse shape, Aozaki. Just look at yourself. You're tired and injured. Not to mention the injury to her back that Akko had nearly forgotten about. Even now, she couldn't ignore the pain the automaton had inflicted on her spine. With iron will, she managed to push it out of her mind mostly. Even while any of the Matriarch stuff, I'm still better shape than you are. I could probably even carry you all the way to the entrance if I needed to. Don't make promises you can't keep. Just go. I'm used to this and you're not. This is your first time facing this sort of thing, right? So it's okay. Flashback? The fact that they weren't in the team. The fact that she was...
確かにこういうのは初めてだけど山じゃ危険な目ぐらい合ってる鹿に襲われたことだってあるんだぞ俺は だから信じてくれ。少しでいいから。
わからない。どうしてそこまでするの？私に付き合えばあなたは死ぬのよ。これが最後だからちゃんと考えてよね。あなたは。
それはわかるよ。でも行かない。そうすると青崎が死んでしまいそうだ。
だからどうしてそこまでするのよ、あんたは。
そりゃ君が好きだからだろ。バカね。私はあなたのこと嫌いなのに。私だって逃げっぱなしは性に合わないし。いいわよ。最後まで粘ってみる。それにしずきくんが付き合ってくれるなら。我ながら情けない。せめて正体を暴く手がかりでもあればいいんだけど。 ん？なんだ正体。
え？
いやだからおかしなものはどれかってことだろ。
わかるのあんた。
多分。いや結構前から
あ、それじゃあここからは。でもミラーハウスの時みたいなのは勘弁してよ。この作戦の肝はあなたなんだから。開始1分でドジったら本当に打つ手なしだからね。ならいいけど。いい？さっき失敗したら死ぬのは私じゃなくてそっち。もうフォローに回れないから。
分かってる。今更ながらやっぱりさっき逃がしてもらえばよかったと思うぐらい。 カなんだか大物なんだか。でも任せた。期待してるわ、しずき。別行動？あの二人が？どういうこと？追いかけているのは本当にか？
Ain't no way, man. I can't believe we were that muted. I can't believe we were muted for that long. What do you mean? Is it actually him they're following, not Aqua in disguise? The robin flapped its wings, stripping away any doubt. It had seen them with its own two eyes. Aqua was headed for the plaza with the cocky brat who was making a run for the roller coaster. Are you saying that Aqua abandoned him? It sounds a little too good to be true. Is Dumpy stolen his tail? The robin nodded enthusiastically. It didn't know about the other birds, but oh, there's more than one bird. And didn't know about the other birds, but with its superior night vision, it had seen that sucker clearly because he had moved to a high point. And Dumpty? He said to let him sing to the very end, that he may never get the chance again to do so for a fool this asinine. Scratch Dumpy was a ticking time bomb that would drop and detonate the moment its target averted its gaze. That is, as long as his target continued to observe him. In a way, he was a gentle, manly ploy kickshaw, though Alice wished he would forego such necessities when in a battle. Let him have his fun. Keeping an eye over Dumpty won't save the boy anyway. Once the poem on his surface is complete, the door will open. No matter how far he runs, Dumpty will end him for sure. Until the park, or rather the Snark was a sturdy soldier, wouldn't be able to escape. Which meant the larger concern was Akko. Akko had promised to protect the boy, which begged the question, where was she running to? As long as we stay here, we can't track Akko. Alice looked over the park, ignoring the robin's attempt to get her attention with its plunge. Flat Snark had nearly reached its full size. It's the tower. It was different breed of beast compared to the other cheap ploys. To her, it was one of her three most irreplaceable and precious familiars. And we're gonna kill it. Yes, she's all yours, Snark. Don't hold back until Akko is brought to her knees. Alice remained where she was, within the same historical mirror as the troll under the bridge, and the poison-clawed reptile. Flat Snark was one of Alice's utmost ploys. She was placing her trust in its reputation and ability. But don't forget, this is a game. When the contest is over, return to me. You mean when you die? You can't return to me. What are you talking about? You're gonna be dead. The drifting fog ignored its master's words. It was the one thing that Alice had misread. Flat Snark was a king even among the other ploys of terrible, vulgar antics. Death to the defeated, gruesome tragedy to be vanquished. It found no pleasure unless it brought the dramatic reunition of life and wealth. The fog billowed like wicked laughter. After all, only a king had the right to decide the fate of the vanquished, and the Snark's greed could not be contained. Thus, it hadn't even the slightest intent to play fair despite his master's orders. Okay. Is that over 100 feet high? One careful step at a time, the figure made its way gingerly? He made his way... What does that even mean? He made its way gingerly up the track, which stretched into the heart of an amusement park. Is it because like a gingerbread is fragile? He stayed his beating chest and the pounding of his breath. Even every tiny movement were an obstacle to his progress. Amazing that one making this pale-face advance higher and higher was Sojiro Suzuki. Far below, he saw a horde of bread creatures that had congested by the roller coaster platform. As they bustled this way and that, their numbers continued to increase by the minute, seemingly cheering, and Sojiro who raised an arms as he made his ascent, or rather, they jeered as beckoning him to come down. Well, at least they don't like heights. Of course, neither did Sojiro, but his current state was the lesser of the two evils. The only thing that followed him was the floating egg. After heaving a huge sigh, Sojiro bent forward a bit and climbed the track that inclined towards the heavens. 150 feet now. Whew, that's high. If this were a skyscraper, he would be on the 60th floor. That's high. A strong gust of wind whipped through his hair. Humans had an instinctive fear of heights. In particular, a place like this, which called forth visions of falling to one's death, will cause a person's knees to tremble against their will. It was an instinct that Fort-Wharf Dev urged his masters to return safety to the ground. It was a reasonable reaction. Climbing the roller coaster tracks went beyond the funny stories and into the realm of fantasy. Oh, here comes the beats. The strong winds and change in air pressure was a hindrance. His instinct screamed at him to stop, causing him limbs to go numb, his muscles to go limp, and his mind to race. Even if he had been tied to a lifetime, a mere 15 feet of climbing would still have caused his thoughts to freeze of sheer terror. And it would only get worse from here, extremely so. Every foot forward increased the loaf of both sides, his body by another degree.
Yes.
I can do this, just a little bit more to the top. The burden of his mind notwithstanding, he carefully measured the toll of his body with every step. His legs, which has carried him running this far, threatened to buckle the moment he let down his guard. This fatigue was likely why Akko had stressed that Sojiro Ro was more dangerously than hers. Wait, would Ayazaki have been so worried if I wasn't tired? What do you mean? Sojiro laughed as he stared at the floating egg. He reflected of course of events that had led to this absurd situation. Not even 10 minutes ago, they had been engaged in conversations. There's a high probability that Gistella and Miura will fight. But after, that's when Miura falls head over heels for Gistella, because she is an amazing fighter. She'll be like, I haven't fought anybody this strong in so long. Bam. And that's how the spark of love happens between the two of them. Big brain? I can see that happening, dude. Okay, since we know what the form it's taking, we need to talk about how we're going to destroy it. Sojiro felt a shudder travel down his spine as Akko's smug grinned. In hindsight, Akko had been more than happy at this point to make him do something absurd. How are we going to destroy it? Can't you just shoot it? Sojiro wondered aloud for what had been seen. Akko had enough firepower to tear clean through the fence. He'd refrained from speculating about Flatstark's true form because he'd felt there was nothing they could do about it, even if they knew. But that had changed. For Akko, the impossible was quite literally within her grasp. It won't be that easy, but my estimate, I want to get within 150 feet of that thing. Despair filled Sojiro's eyes. Akko lifted a hand to her long hair and with a magically charged fingertip clipped a clean tuft of it. But we can make up the difference with some elbow grease. Get to the highest place you can. When the time is right, I'll give you a sign. Just toss this into the air. That's all you need to do. Okay. But based on where Akko pointed her gaze, she did not really mean to leave it up to Sojiro to pick the highest place that he could find. She was staring conspicuously at one of the amusement park's two main attractions of the roller coaster. So in other words, you're saying we split up, then you want me to run away from the monsters, chasing me and escape to somewhere high, right? Look at that smug face. Exactly. And hey, wouldn't you know it, the tracks of that winding roller coaster are perfect. There were two demons in this park. Her smile made even Sojiro once responded with a far be for me to question your motives here, but you're not secretly working with that girl to kill me, are you? Now, wasn't it you who said it was okay if I was the one who killed you? It's not nice to twist other people's words. Sojiro hung his head. This was not sane. If he did as she said, he would die from exhaustion before Kitsu even had a chance to eat him. I'm not a monster. Hey, look at me. I'll cast a charm on you. What kind of charm? Flashbang. It was the lightest of touches. Close enough for their breath and skin to come into contact. It's the love scene? Oh. Ozaki had finished with a hushed voice. For one of them, this was a rather mundane magecraft. For the other, it was a head-spinning, intimate ambush. The weight of the air, the tremble of one's breast. Be light and frail, nimble and fast. What? Light lags behind while shadows pull ahead. Tick-tock, tick-tock, there's no time to waste. Words that cannot be produced by a normal larynx, carrying a particular weight to them, reverberated against his eardrums. If words were given colors, these would have been the colors of her name, blue. Sojo's exhausted body and burning blood gently cooled. What is this beautiful scene, dude? I'm falling in love with these characters. I love them already. Fly, swim, run. A bird in the sky, a fish in the seas, you are in the distance. Tick-tock, tick-tock. Stuffed doubt and anxiety in the sack begin the journey at dawn. The star is always in the northern sky, no matter where you go. A shining star falls into your heart. In reality, it took but a few seconds, but the sudden contact that had felt a little longer. Aww. Mesmerized successful. I think this is the first time I've actually felt the tape. I guess all those lectures from Alice paid off. A very merry Aqua stood aside a very confused Sojiro. After he asked what the heck had occurred, she responded. It's an elementary suggestion. I temporarily erase your senses of fear, so you should be able to climb up there no problem. The biggest thing standing in your way is your nerves, right? If you don't feel fear, then there's no matter how high you climb, it's no different from walking a balance beam. He seemed to get it. It actually all sounded like Greek to Sojiro, but he accepted it as an explanation for her strange actions. So what you're telling me is that Gastella will be with Kaden and Miura with Gastella, so Kaden with Miura, obviously? No, not Kaden and Miura. Miura was gonna fall for Gastella, and Gastella's gonna fall for Kaden. And there's gonna be a love triangle. Ha! Finally I made it. He'd arrived at the summit of the track. From nearly 200 feet high, Sojiro had a bird-eye view of the entire amusement park. He was able to spot Aqua's figure right away. In the plaza, not so far from here, she seemed to be occupied with something conspicuous. Her surroundings laid still. The bread men were still busy trying to figure out how to reach Sojiro by trial and error from the roller coaster's entrance. They were over 300 feet away now. No wonder I'm drenched in sweat. Look how much ground I've covered. The strong winter glass quickly dried the sweat on his brow, but he was drenched underneath his spirit. This much sweat was still worth at least half a mile run, not to mention all that scares he had experienced throughout the night. Okay, now all I have to do is wait for the signal. He felt a wave of relief. Wow, I'm losing my voice! But not at the thought of Akko destroying the snark in the nightmarish park. He was simply happy that he could repay a bit of his debt from the House of Mirrors. Wait, what's gonna happen? Is that the signal? A blue billet rose from the plaza where Akko was located. At the end, how's it gonna end up? Gastella? Okay. I don't think they're gonna, like, hook up officially. That's what I think is gonna happen. But... wait, I should probably pause the... let me pause the video right here. That's the signal. Sojiro stood up at top of the tracks, pulled out the pouch he stowed in his pocket, and tossed it forward. Without any regard for his questionable footing, he gave it a mighty over-arm pitch. The small pouch drew a parabolic curve into Akko's direction, quickly becoming untitled in midair. So that's her hair. Inside the bag was a lock of her hair and a small stone weight. Just throw it with the wind for somewhere high up, and I'll take it from there. Akko had said, but it was Sojiro's efforts that had set the plan in motion. The tuft of hair remained airborne, drifting as if watching over its owner. Sojiro's job was done. He remained concerned about the egg hovering over him, but there was nothing he could do about it. Soldier breathed a sigh of relief and leaned forward to watch the rest of the plan unfold. But then what? Huh? In the corner of his eye, he thought he spotted something familiar approaching Akko. Is it another egg? Were there 2 Humpty Dumptys? Route set connecting to crest. Whoa, that's such a cool shot. Direct current crest, first layer, second layer, third layer reserved. Magic energy supply fixed to greater source. Flow check, angle check, formula stability good enough. A pattern began to carve itself into the brick street. The casting of unprecedented incantation while unprecedented range. Keeping the rise of tension contained within her crest, the fledgling mage snapped her fingers. Tour plan, star mine. Done. Bullet configuration, convergence launch. She kneeled at the center of the formula and raised her hand to the night sky. Not even a glimpse of the transfiguring fantasy landed around her entire own vision. Only one thing, one unchangeable thing was reflected in her blue eyes. So this has been on my mind for a while now. This is how their conversation started a few minutes prior. Sojiro began with a simple statement of fact. In truth, it really was the simplest of discrepancies. Any difference between the reality of an hour ago and the illusion of the present was both infinitesimal and infinite. I thought maybe I didn't know what I was looking at because of the clouds. It was hiding in plain sight. Oh, it was in the sky. It was hiding in plain sight, too impossible to reveal to an outline to even be here. In this amusement park, there was every programmer had shifted. Somehow was brazen, flaunting it. Not. Oh, I did not read that right. Tonight is supposed to be a new moon, Ayazaki. The moon? Yeah, come to think of it, that's actually what you started as. The distance from the Earth to the moon was I didn't know that. Was 238,000 miles. Oh wait, 238,900 miles. Oh, it's misspelling. 238,900 miles. If it truly was identical to the actual moon, then this monster indeed lived up to its eerie reputation. So she's gonna shoot the moon? At a distance that vast, there would have been no need to hide. It could flaunt its true form for all to see. But it had to hide its true form, that meant it was vulnerable. The monster's camouflage implied that it sat within the reach of human hands. At best, my max range is 650 yards or so. At this point, it was time to give it all she had. Drawing on the energy surging throughout the park, she extended her firing arm. A blue firework launched into the air. Looking up at her hair dancing in the wind above, Akko reached out her right hand as if to catch the night sky. A mage's own body made for the perfect catalyst. And for a female mage, the hair she had grown over the many years made a particularly valuable and powerful source of fuel. To use it, all she had to do was apply her will. She locked her fingers on both her hands together and shouted, "Deploy third layer, all formulae commence link activation." Oh shit. She held forth a clear challenge to bind the moon to herself. The mist began to whirl about in the vortex. The monster high above bore playing on the side of the blue spell that appeared in midair. Did she figure it out? By the time Alice had noticed the change, the hostility between Aqua and the Snark was palatable. Very well, this round goes to Aqua. Return immediately. Perhaps removing the rain clouds was too obvious a hint, but I suppose one can't win them. Let Snark. The fog continued to thicken with no sign of abating. The moon that flooded in the night sky could not pardon such an insolent mage. As if the Lord of the Night would bow down to such impudence, there was no staying its wrath at a challenge so flagrant. Snark! He's not going back? The robin swooped to give its report, but Alice waved it away. Her is she holding it? Okay, no. Her gaze was fixed on the transporting golden moon. Her cause of restraint did not reach it. The fairy tale monster was beholden to nobody, and it would not have qualms unleashing its vast might upon its puny prey. Oh shit. She's gonna take him out? Ooh, here we go. The core of her magic bullet howled. The magic circuits within her body spun. Aqua fed the magical energy, scorching her nerves with imaginary flames. She was linked to the formula inscribed on the ground. The spell was read and executed the same as it always was, but the output was beyond reckoning. With this much firepower, even in the mundane process would invite injury upon its caster. It was enough to burn up the nerves that were activating as the barrel. Oh, just like in Fate Stay Night with Shiro. I remember that. When he breaks the circuits. I can do this. You can do it. The imaginary heat had reached a terrifying temperature. Aqua trembled at the endless feeling, but it would have to grin and bear it the least efforts come to naught. Aqua could no longer move. When she had learned that Snark's true form from Sojo, she gave up on any superiority a movable turn offered, and instead opting to become a stationary cannon. That was the only way she could reach it. It was impossible to hunt the Snark unless she anchored her crest at this location and angle. At the time, the activation revealed that she was out of options. Once the fuse was lit, she would have no choice but to fight to the bitter end. Aqua took a deep breath. This was the only way she wanted. Yeah. Her preparations were complete. She would be able to deliver the maelstrom of magical energy directly to the moon like a rocket payload. The third mid-air layer served as the cannon muzzles inside. It would fire the magical energy once it reached critically, and it allowed Aqua to adjust the angle of fire. Fog? The moon became wrapped with her scope. Flashbang! As Aqua charged her magical energy, the flood displayed its golden form as if to mock her. Come, worship the heavens, perilous signs of an innocent bloodline. For there it was, a point among the otherworldly sky, mystical vision obfuscated by jade mist and azure clouds. Called the greatest treasure known as the world of Magecraft, a rarity more vulnerable than an entire kingdom crowned phantasm. Is that a face? That's it, the classic. Set apart for the first world's greatest fabrication. Yeah, man, she's stressing out. Not yet, just need a little more time. Her instinct screamed at her to delay no further. This fairy tale monster was the greatest of its kind, and it was about to expose its true form. It opened hostility and made it clear that it was ready to counterattack. I can't move, not with an incantation this long. If it attacks before me, it's all over. She had to shoot it down first. Magical energy was at 80%. The formula was operating normally. All that was left was to pull the trigger, but the calm voice inside her hair asked if it was really okay. She had one shot at this, and there was no going back. It was a battle of precision, no room for miscalculations. Even a tenth of a second or hesitation would tip the scales. Was she ready for the pain? Was she ready to deal with the fallout she had missed? Could she really even take down the moon with such a tiny bullet in the first place? Enough. Shoot first, ask questions later. Her eyes fixed upon the moon while feeling determination. She knew at that moment she fired, the intense recoil will overwhelm her entire body. Still she shouted. Bro, this music! With every ounce her spirit possessed, she fired her ultra-long range projectile into the sky. It launches from that? The third layer embraced the magical bullets fired from the surface of the earth. The crest and extension of Aqua's self unleashed light to pierce the moon. However... Bro, this is like her noble phantasm up in here, dude. What the hell? What am I reading? An enormous blue canopy pulverized the beam. It returned the ether to 3,000 degree flame to nothing as it came to contact with a bullet. The recoil of the Grand Magecraft literally boiled her blood. Her body couldn't handle it. Her heart stopped, her brain went numb from the pain and impact. Shit. Her nerves putrefied from the end to end, where her mage crest revived them all by force. Ice, it was blocked by ice. Even though her vision had gone white, she could still see it. Swallowing the blood in her mouth, Aqua looked up with a straw. There it was, an enormous shield of ice that was staring at the deformed skull. Did I fire too late? Did I fire too early? Should I have shot it before I made that shield? Was it too reckless to shoot it head on? Who cares? First layer, second layer, reactivate, hurry. She's doing it again? There's no time to think or hesitate. She's going again? Her magical energy throughout the park began to gather. Aqua knelt. Across from the tyrannical face of the moon, she initiated that the ice had yet to fully form. Flat Snark still hadn't reached its full strength, which was exactly why... Damn it. By accelerating the spell, Aqua damaged her own body. The burden and leaking the formula to Snark caused intense pain. All she could do was grit her teeth and endure it. All because that ice is tougher than my best shot. Aqua had gotten a read on their relative strength. Even if it was the volume of magical energy was identical, Snark's form as mystical scale was in a different league. Bro, what the fuck am I reading? This is getting kind of crazy, dude. Wait, hold on, put the volume down just a little, just a smidge. Meanwhile, there was nothing she could do to prevent her own annihilation if Snark gathered as much energy as it could. Then before that happened, she goes again. She loaded her next shot. She issued orders of the floating third layer. Ignoring the toll in her body, she began to accelerate the first layer formula. Bro, what the fuck? The role of her right-hand single layer was to absorb and store surrounding magical energy. The thick fog that drifted throughout the park was an ancient ether spewed by Flat Snark's own body, but Aqua could pour it into her formula. Aqua's bottle, which had integrated with the formula, took on the amount of magical energy that far surpasses man's capacity. It seethed its agony, or rather it trembled in delight. For a mage, magical energy was a propellant to reach the realm of mystics. The expansion of internal time, the liquefaction of the self, the release form, the physical, there were all what one might call a near-death experience. On the precipice of what lay beyond, Aqua stood firm and faced reality. What the fuck, man? So reality had come to break her will. What is she supposed to do against it? The gap between them was plain to any observer. The gun barrel named Aqua Yozaki had no chance to chip away at the lump of ice. She accelerated the spell further. The skull grinned. The ice was no shield. It was a hammer to crush mages who did not know their place. The moon laughed as it prepared to crush not just Aqua, but the boy atop of the roller coaster, as well as the park in its entirety. So what if it hurts? Her circuits were on the verge of going critical. Her body had been charged with a scorching power supply. From her fingertips to her eyeballs, she would see the bullet fire. She would arrange to make her formula as quickly as her nerves transmitting the speed it will allow. A single tag was not enough. There was no way to shoot it from its flank, which meant there was only one solution. Alternate, selector reconnecting to alternating her current. The third layer began to transform. It switched from direct to alternating currents. The spell's supposed strong point was its ability to adjust its trajectory mid-flight. Oh shit, so we're just gonna curve the bullets? But right now, all she wanted to do was numbers. Set connecting octagram. Oh, so it's gonna shoot out like an octagram? All layers max rotation. Yeah, that's so sick. A blue sun shining down upon the amusement park, beams of light of the maximum output streaked forth to pierce the golden moon. Oh shit, I got it. So now 8. Oh, it's cutting it. Take this. Holding down the trigger, she continued to fire, taking the energy at him. What? There's no way she doesn't get it. Bro, she's only been training for 2 years and she's already this strong? Damn, man, she could probably kill Shiro with this. Blue flame shot forward at critical level, but the ice would neither melt nor mar. No amount of sheer heat could make a dent in something formed from such a colossal amount of magical energy. Bro, she's going to overdrive. The toll on her circuit sent them berserk, and blood began to run free. The spin should have been more than enough. Damn, what the hell? He's just too strong? The battle had become a tussle over the magical energy that filled the park. From the very beginning, this had been the Snark's home turf. The Snark had control over at least 80% of the space, while Aqua had 20 at best. No, I can't stop it. No. The castle of ice descending as if to call the match. All she could do was delay the inevitable. She knew that she'd been backed into a wall, and right now the only thing she could do was keep firing. Then again, perhaps not. There was another option. If she converted all of her magical energy into a defense, there was a tiny chance, no, not a tiny, a great possibility in fact that she could save just her. Shut up and do it already. Not even the ice has a chance against all the magical energy here. Clinging to the broken hope, Aqua continued to rotate her circuits. Bro, this is fucking crazy. This seemed to stop them in a magical energy overdose. A second of intense pain lasted an eternity. Then amidst everything... Huh? What the fuck is going... Something approached one step at a time? Is it the one that controls the puppet? Something from among the park shadows. Something. 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 What the fuck? She felt goosebumps from head to toes. The issue was no longer the ice overhead. In the midst of this stillness, the Red Death drew closer, step by ominous step. Why here? Why now? Her circuits and her mind began to rupture out of terror. The composition of her formula and soul began to rip apart. There it was, just behind her. Its footsteps came to a halt. It reached around and cupped her face like a bloodstained hands. What the fuck is this? She wants to scream out with all her might. This is it. Nothing matters. I couldn't care less. Run or don't run, it doesn't matter. Quit hiding and reveal yourself. What? Use whatever you can and show no mercy. This was it. She had one final card to play. Once a miracle had been gifted to her, almost as a joke, it made the ice look like child's play. That was what the Red Death had come to kill? Using it would spell ruin. Not using it would mean death by ice? Then why hesitate? There were no conditions on its use. There was no price to pay for its power. She simply would cease to be herself. That was all. Humans love to exist in areas of gray. Dozens of electrical impulses disconnect and braves every minute. Nothing lasts forever, not even oneself. It was not anything particularly worthy of disdain. It was not even anything remarkably worthy of being called taboo. Wait, did we just see the cats? Oh shit, that's some crazy ass symbolism right there. Shut up. What escaped her lips now was rage. Bewilderment from the red silhouette. The girl let out an inaudible scream. Could true magic truly be her savior? What an opportunistic load of bull. After all, to begin with. I have no clue how to do that shit yet. Indeed, Aqua was still in the dark when it came to that magic, whatever it was. What? What is she gonna do? Ugh, it didn't work? Oh, watch out, Shiro. Bro, look at the egg. I'm such a moron. She awoke from her momentary hallucination. The very illusion her breaking soul had shown her. The very illusion... What? Whining had the opposite effect on her. Her pride was now ablaze. So you're going to run from this responsibility too? Sojiro was right. Her... Fuck, dude, this music goes so hard, bro. Oh, I'm getting goosebumps. Her opponent had put her in check, but she had done the same to it. It was clear why she was losing, so now all she needed to do was counterplan. Well, within her abilities. No matter the odds, she was not the one to give up without giving it one last shot. That's right. Oh shit, now she has a red? That's right, giving up only comes after you've tried absolutely everything. Her numb fingers clenched into a tight fist. She was betting against the house, an unreasonable gamble that should have made her question her sanity. If her first step was off by an inch, her body would be instantly vaporized. But she knew a boy who never fled. She knew of a steadfast courage that could shine its light no matter how small or any desperate situation. Man, this music is so good. Yep, there was more than just herself to be concerned about. If that ice fell, it would mean the destruction of the park in its entirety. Everything he had achieved, everything he had risked and dared and happily put his life on the line for, would have all been for naught. Really? What possessed him to be so bullheaded? The determination and confidence surged through her like electricity. She was in no mood to be crushed by a giant shed of ice. If she was going to lose, she'd rather do as the grandest fireworks possible. Akko was a sore loser. At this point, she would rather burn herself to cinders. Is that a third layer? Fourth? Change. Disconnect, expand, area, reconnect. Fuck am I reading? She grunged in pain. Energy raged throughout her body. Her circuits were on the verge of disintegration. Inscribable upon her body, her magical crest, which magecraft was given her physical form. It did not, however, stop with the simply skin and flesh. It burrowed to the very marrow of her bones. Ooh, we made the same face. A playful smile graced her lips. Oh, she's smiling. Her sense... Oh, dude, I'm getting goosebumps, bro. What the fuck, man? Her sense of reason had been turned upside down by the pain. There was only natural, huh? I can do this? She had to praise her own body for holding out so long while pushed beyond its limits. The skull face noticed the abnormality. It finally recognized the challenge for dominance over the space. It laughed at the conceit of its face. Never did it expect a magician to challenge the great flat snark, lord of vessels over a millennium, and in such an age of decline. She tried to catch her breath. She braced herself for the coming pain. She was going to smash that ice to pieces. Both had access to the same amount of magical energy. One of them was a greatly outmatched, but there was a difference in our output. If I'm losing because of the scale of energy absorption and the size of the barrel, then the solution simple. All I need to do is make the formula bigger and me with it. So if she makes a bigger formula, she absorbs more? Change tour plan, reconnect bullet. So now she just doubled it. She made a second one. Wait, she made more. How much? The feedback would go beyond anything she had experienced today. What the fuck? She made 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I lost count. Quite simply, her decision went beyond recklessness. She expanded both formulas to maximum size. The first layer would transform into a giant vortex, swallowing up the mist. Oh, that's absorbing it and that's releasing it. The second layer will process it from one end and pump it into her. I was naive, thinking I can do something cute like shoot it down. What I need to do is blast it to hell. What the fuck, dude? Primitive power answered the spellcaster's conviction. It formed the pattern as a writhing serpent. Voiceless magical powers flew a banner of revolution. Now look upon the earth, O venerable one. See now this pioneer, the first among trailblazers. She embodies a species known no fear that renders not all manner of mystical and tradition. I'm done borrowing from you, you lying boom. Oh, Bojun? If you really want it, I'm more than happy to give it all back. For the newest magician commands the pinnacles of conservation and extinction. Holy shit. God damn! And a barren blunt of light melted through the castle of ice. Holy shit. The barrel held fast. Her control of magical energy was divine. 100,000 miles of veins equal to 2.5 times the circumference of the earth hungrily drank in the magical energy. The subsequent magical strike hurled straight up at the moon. No, 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 no. Death rose from the moon's surface. A cry of inner terror echoed throughout the abandoned park. Reality was burned into the eyes of this creature fantasy. Huh. To Akko, its vain struggle was the taste of victory. Victory despite her absolute weakness use of magical energy. The energy scales have been tipped to the breaking point, but nevertheless in her favor. Tour plan, bullet configuration. Black like star bro, total eclipse converged. Tear it a new one. Holy shit. Shatter, shatter, shatter. The skyscraper scattered into amidst dust. The island is unability exerted her swelling wind of despair its many challengers. Long had it probably eluded mankind's intellect. Yet now as there mist was of its demise. In the sky the icy canopy crumbled. The snark hunting bullet jumped over the moon. Its thrones of death sounded like the roaring sea reverberating across this fairy tale land. Holy shit. She fucking did it! She killed the moon, dude! Oh, I mean, the battle was over. The thick fog dissipated and the shattered ice melted away before hitting the ground. A lethal bullet unsettled the Night King from its throne, affording him no time to grieve his loss. The oil of the moon. The untouched flat snark. The dreamscape that had begun with its resurrection ended with its demise, drawing a close to the nightmare. Holy shit, she did it. Holy shit, she actually did it. Oh man, I guess I kind of went overboard. Flat on her back, Akko looked up at the night sky. She lay there perfectly still, not able to move a single finger. When she tried, her whole body screamed out in agony. She was completely empty of magical energy and her magical crest had come to a halt. She estimated that it would likely require a whole day to recover all her bodily functions. Sadly, all she could really do in that moment was take a breath. At least her chest was swelling with pride. She had gone toe-to-toe with a fairy tale monster and had emerged victorious. The battlefront conditions had favored her. It was true, but there was no denying that Akko had come a long way in the last 6 months. Holy shit, she did it. Lucky or not, I owe Alice an apology. Once a ploy has been broken, it's gone forever. Flat Snark would never again return to this world. It was an insanely rare item, so invaluable that it would have been impossible to price it for auction at the association in London. Akko had sent Alice's priceless treasure to oblivion. Needless to say, things had gotten more than a little out of hand. Still, they had both agreed to the fight, so Alice probably would not complain. Even if she was furious, she would never be so undignified as to show it. The second Akko relaxed, her fatigue finally caught up with her. She did everything in her power to fight off the overwhelming drowsiness. Aside from a few minor internal injuries, her body was mercilessly unscratched. She felt like she could probably stand and dust herself off after a bit of rest. Easy. Holy shit, she did it. The golden moon continued to burn in the night sky. Well, you are oil after all. You could probably burn for how long? Akko's blurry everyone went wide in astonishment. She was still unable to lift a finger. Alright, the baker who fought the snake disappeared along with it. She sighed in resignation. Akko accepted that her final stand left her with only 10 seconds before she burned to ash too. Alice! Save her! Elsewhere, just a short moment prior, buffed by the strong winds atop the roller coaster, Sojo gravely peered down to the ground. Bro, go save her! Huh? All he could do was muster a single murmur. He could see Akko on top of some drawing to the ground and... What in the world is that thing made of? In the distance, there was something familiar in the direction of the ruined house of the mirrors. Sojo's job to throw Akko's hair from a great height was complete. While none of the most impressive tasks was absolutely a matter of life or death. And to top it all off, just thinking about how he was going to get back down to the ground was making him dizzy. He had experienced more than enough trouble for one day. Wait, but... Oh, shit, the egg! Oh, it's... Oh, now we're seeing it from his point of view? He was flustered that he stood atop of the swaying bridge. His skull suddenly appeared in the sky above. On the ground, he could see a circling blue light with Aquazaki in the middle of it. And one more thing. From an angle that only Sojo could see, a shadow stalked Akko while she challenged the moon. Oh, so he saw it. Is it a puppet? Ugh. It was shaped like a person missing the lower half of... Oh, what the fuck? It's still alive? The disembodied torso slowly clawed its way towards Akko. They were still over 600 feet apart. Unfortunately for Akko, she completely failed to notice it approaching from behind. Oh shit, it's alive. It's too far away to make out, but isn't that? He was sure of what it was now. There was only one thing in the park that would chase Akko and not him, the puppet. But I mean, maybe it's a coincidence, right? His mind ran in circles. It was a perfectly irresponsible reaction. Any grip on reality he might have left for a long lost when Akko started firing beams of light at the monster's moon. Whoa. Akko's merciless fire buffed the roller coaster like a storm. Just standing on it was almost enough for him to be thrown off and killed. At any rate, Sojo couldn't fathom the situation. Should he head back to the entrance of the roller coaster and warn Akko about the incoming threat? No, there was no way he could make it in time. And to make matters worse, there was a horde of bread down there waiting for him. So what is he gonna do? And it may very well have been the case of Akko that was already rid of the puppet and it wouldn't take it out as soon as they got closer. If she was, Sojo was sure he would only be in the way. Bro, this is fucking crazy. Fucking Alice is strong, dude. But it did not seem like there was anything he could do to help. And beyond that, Akko was not the only one in danger. He was in quite a predicament himself. You can't go home again? The road home was never as safe as the one thought. It was as true here as it have been in the mountains. The path he was on was no exception. As risky as it had been, it was even more dangerous to go back down. There was no time to be worrying about others. His shaking legs reminded him that only 200 feet separated him from death. I'll be fine. I know that. Just... His head was pounding. This was reckless and stupid. Having been raised in the mountains, he was more sensitive to danger than anyone raised in the city, and just thinking about it, he was about to do was make his throat seize up. Is he gonna jump? There was only one thing he could do. He could say for sure. Awazaki has no idea that thing is coming for her. With a sobbing sound, Sojo started making his way down the 200-foot frame of a roller coaster. He's running down. His race towards the death accelerated. He never meant to speed up, but the downward slope propelled him forward. Here I go. It was too late for regrets. Now he was running. He had no choice but to go even faster. And time was on his side. He would never make it in time if he took the long way down. Never mind the bread man crowning the exit of the roller coaster. Well, the exits blocked, the outcome would be the same. Whether he went slowly or quickly, there was no reason to rush his death as desperate as he did. So what? So what if it was futile? Sojo cleared the doubts from his mind. He turned his attention to what he could do, keep his footing, and tried to arrive at the bottom as quickly as he could. Focus, forget whether you'll be there in time to save her. The most important thing is, he had no idea what the impulses were driving his stiff limbs. He just focused on the moment, pushing a fearful logic. At his core, he was the kind of person to deal with problems head on. There would be times to think about the consequences later. Oh shit, the egg. But hesitation was not his only obstacle, not now. The worst possible hindrance appeared at a time when not focusing on the track would mean certain death. Oh shit, it's about to blow up. Soldier sensed something wrong. Oh shit, those are explosives. I just realized that. Soldier sensed something wrong with the egg that had been so simply observing out with one eye. Something had changed. And at the very moment he realized it. I can't be looking at the side right now. Soldier stumbled, excessively caught himself. It was a miracle he had not fallen. Descending a roller coaster on foot was an act of suicide. The egg stayed right by his side, so close it was likely it would collide with him. Though he was trying not to look at it, all he could do was feel uneasy that the door-like decoration in the center was gradually opening. It's starting to open? Damn it, why now? He cursed his rotten situation, and yet he refused to slow down. He ran even faster, glaring at the egg on his side. Ha, this is crazy. This is wild, dude. What's wrong with me? Nothing, bro. Soldier was baffled to find he was smiling. Perhaps had something to do with Aqua's charm. Soldier could not tell one way or the other. He could still feel Aqua's fingers on his skin. We did not just magically cut. We are still where we were. He could not still feel Aqua's fingers on his skin. Oh, he could still feel Aqua's fingers on his skin. The trust and expectation she had placed in him was etched into his heart. But what spurred him on was something entirely different. This all stemmed from a much deeper problem. It was something inside him that he could not understand at the time, but would eventually come in terms with one day. Alright, less than 5 feet left. He carefully judged the distance as he ran down the track of death, but the distance between what? That one, without saying, it was the distance between himself and the one thing that could save his life. Is he gonna jump in something when it blows up? He told himself he was going to do it over and over like a mantra? Soldier could not believe himself. What he was about to do was incredibly stupid, but what is stupid when smart is not an option? My puppy. Come here. I'm really going to do this? This is insane. Amidst it all, he laughed out how pointless such self-reflection was now. Temporary confusion and psychological thrill ride, both had laid his soul bare. What really mattered in life? The answer to the question was simple. His permanent values did not crave success or reward. All he wanted was... Yes. This is it. To live the way he wanted. Ooh, flashbang. It wasn't an obligation to the people around him. His desire to live his way was his and his alone. Here we go. If the egg had been equipped with vocal function, it would have gasped in shock at what happened next. The boy who had only tried to escape until now at this point suddenly shifted his weight. Oh shit, he jumped on it? He pointed his feet outward instead of inward. On the edge of one row, he crouched ever so slightly to maintain the momentum and gazed at the floating egg. He's gonna jump on it. Close enough. I can do this. He soared through the night sky. It was a flight that lasted a mere 1.5 seconds. A courtless bungee jump from 100 feet above ground. His destination? The only thing that would stop his fall, the giant flying egg. He shrieked, this time out of elation, as he desperately clung to the egg surface. Just earlier, the cold-blooded witch had told him that without fear, the top of a building will feel no different than a balance beam. This form was the same the witch would have been left speechless as she witnessed the spectacle. It was one thing to be fearless and another to be reckless. What the boy did next was give her a headache in the days to come. I'm counting on you, Egg. Clinging to the egg, he shifted his gaze away from it. He felt a rapid descent. Sojiro focused his shut eyes to the ground, left off the egg once they were a few feet from the ground, then turned back to it carefully to reestablish eye contact. Something so unbelievable to Sojiro. The elevator at the department store and the mysterious floating egg were both just moving objects virtually indistinguishable from one another. Alright, it didn't break. It's always a shame when food goes to waste. Bro, this is a visual novel? Holy shit, dude. He landed near the plaza. Look at that, dude. Okay, in my defense, the only visual novel I've ever played was Steins Gate. And then Steins Gate 0. Only 2. So this is a pretty big step up in quality. Sojiro took off running the second his feet touched the ground. The puppet after Akko was the only thing on his mind. He paid no mind to the moonlight in the sky. I can hear the sound effects from fucking FGO. Nor the egg, which was furious about being used and seconds away from self-destructing and blasting fragments all over the place. Huh? Akko's dumbfounded expression spurred Sojiro's on. Oh, the egg's about to blow. The curious was complete. The empty egg began to sing its warning to let them know there was no escape. Oh my god! Scrap metal from the egg exploded through the air. The ode to the Queen Alice, the Alice had engraved into Dumpty quickly robbed him of his... Wait. The ode to Queen Alice, that Alice had engraved into Dumpty quickly robbed him of his senses. My puppy's by my jacket. Okay, was that it? He snapped back to the fantastic hand and ran to Akko, still lying on the ground. His legs moved as if they had a mind of their own. Though he couldn't have stopped them anyway since he could no longer feel them. Don't you puppets ever give up? Bro, what is this game, dude? Oh, I think my puppy wants to get done. Come here, Ellie. Come here. You gotta come down. Right? You wanna come down? Here. You want me to hold you for a little bit, or do you want to go straight to the ground? We can put you on the floor, or you can sit with me. I'll let you pick. Here, okay. You can sit up here with me for a minute, and if you start barking, then I know you want to come down. Let's try this, okay? Wait. Okay, I think she's gonna sit with me like this. Okay, now where were we? The scrambled murder case. Piles of rubble became flowers of light blooming from the earth. Yo, he saved her. The final curtain drew close. Okay, okay, you want to come down. The final curtain drew close. There you go. And the defeated left the battleground. Bro, what? That's a hype screenshot. Had Alice Konji seen it happen, she would have been beside herself. The two had escaped by a hair's breadth. Oh. Since they attacked at the same time, it died in... What? The only person in the position to witness a rare mutual destruction was a girl who had been saved from it. The boy who had never started running paid it no mind. I thought you were a goner. The safety of the girl in his arms meant infinitely more to him than the miraculous way in which he saved her. She's going crazy. I got her a new little stuffed toy. Fucking Alice. Why can't we just be friends? Why couldn't we just like, hey man, let's take it, man. Let's teach him magic. The moon did not wait for dawn to set. The ornamental texture of the fairy tale kingdom faded away. Unless it was all to test her. All of the illusions returned to the way they were before. From the ostentatious chords reverberating through the streets to the puppets welcoming their guests. Peace and quiet reigned once more over a forgotten kingdom never to be awakened again. You want to go out? Out flickered the embers of a late-night dream. Even the electric lamps that illuminated the park. My puppy just looking at me speak. Together they watched it disappear. Sojiro lay on the ground, desperately gasping for air like a fish out of water. The curse of the exploding egg had numbed his pain, and he was understandably exhausted after all he had experienced. He looked like he could blow away the lights of breeze. While Akko was also exhausted, she was still in better shape. Really? Taking deep, even breaths, she was already working to recover her strength. Ano. She addressed Sojiro indifferently as her gaze remained on the amusement park. Let's put the volume up. Sounds like a beautiful moment. The abruptness of it was a bit theatrical in nature. Oh, it's the theme song. She wanted to look at him as she spoke, but her pride was simply too great. You did something kind of amazing, didn't you? The moment she accepted death had seemed like an eternity. She was beside herself in shock at how indifferent she had been as the shards rained down from the moon, but a reassuring voice had snapped her back into reality. Why did he do it? What was he thinking? What moronic things had he done to pull it off? She had no answers for these questions lying on the ground as she was. All she knew was that he had more than made up for his failure in the House of the Mirrors than some in those fateful final moments. She addressed him hoping to find answers, but found herself unable to probe any further. To dig any deeper would feel like defeat, which is why it was so unlike her to ask him in the first place. Luckily for her, Sojiro had neither the capacity nor sensitivity to what? To understand how egocentric she was being. Amazing you were. Pretty amazing, Ayozaki. I really like this song, dude. He stuttered between labored breaths. It was taking him so much effort just to breathe that he cannot address her properly. She watched him out of the corner of her eye. Thinking back on it, the boy had performed the same role each time. Each and every time he did what he could in spite of his recklessness. It was far more admirable than her nearly suicidal tactics, even if she did defeat her opponent. He did not even recognize how extraordinary his last act of courage was. Here's an idea. If I help you kill the thing, will you let me go? At the very least, he had the courage to keep trying whatever he could. Damn, I like him. This is a good character. He's such a good character, dude. As Spectre might have viewed him as a supporting actor, his actions were not exactly memorable. But the lead actress he supported did not see it that way. Well, I don't really want to admit it myself, much less say it out loud, but such inspired actions were wasted in a supporting role. This guy really pulled off the impossible. It was so amazing that she wanted to shout it out as loud as she possibly could for all the world to hear. Say it, dude! Aozaki? I love you. God, he's so innocent, it makes me want to barf. Never mind, she's not gonna say, I love you. All Akko could do was sigh. This is a really good light novel. Or visual novel. How could she not? Even she was forced to admit the way he'd snatched her from the jaws of death was dashing. I must be getting soft. Truth be told, he was a lunatic for doing what he did. She steadied her breathing and composed herself. While she was in bad shape, she still had her pride as a mage to consider. That was why she felt a need to maintain an air of dignity. Suzuki, I originally meant to let you off the hook for today only, but I'm willing to let the whole thing go. For the time being, I've decided to let you live. Oh, that's sweet. She hastily extended her right hand. It was either to shake his or to help him. Oh, we don't know. However, Sojo did not take her hand, but instead stood up on his own. This night, despite the sheer insanity that he had just experienced, his face had once looked as incredulous as it did now. Oh, she's blushing. What? Something wrong? She stammered, worried as she had deeply embarrassed herself. Sojo's gaze was fixed upon Akko. A problem had dawned on Akko. Though she normally hated being stared at, this time she did not mind. Rather, she was enjoying the warmth in his eyes and felt like it was something she could almost come to appreciate. Don't you get it? This isn't just about friendship, and I didn't mean he only likes you either. Believe me when I say, Sonji, really? He's in love with you. Oh. The conversation came rushing back. It was a memory better left forgotten? No, not happening. Pushing Tobimaru's words out of her mind, Akko turns to Sojiro. Don't get any ideas? I don't care about you in the least. Puzzled, Sojiro tilted his head. You already told me how much you dislike me. He responded matter-of-factly to her sudden declaration. She certainly had pointed that out, and to his face no less. It had a mere figure of speech that he was not meant to take literally, but now was not the time to belabor the point. I'm not talking about that. I'm just saying you shouldn't get your hopes up, no matter how far you've fallen for me. What? Yeah, belabor she did anyway. Akko blushed slightly, realizing how insane she was being. She wondered how she ended up in this position. And yet she knew she could have what? She knew what? She knew that she had to get this off her chest. All that was left was to politely wait for his response. I can't date you? Such heartbreakingly painful words were too much for a simple boy to hear. His shoulders slumped as if the world had come to an end, or so Akko had imagined. On the contrary, Sojiro was sitting there in deep thought. Did you just say I'm in love with you? It was a misunderstanding. Sojiro murmured the words as if they were a magical spell. She shot right back at him with affirmative. After a moment of deep contemplation, the boy turned to the expectant girl and said, "Nah, you tripping." What do you think that? What do you think that, dude? What? He had to be joking, but he was not. He was completely serious. So, he liked her, but he didn't like her. Of course, the vice president had jumped to conclusions. This boy had no interest in romance. He probably didn't even know what that was. So. She was incredibly embarrassed by how confused Sojiro still appeared to be. Her rosy complexion spread throughout her entire body. I'll ask you again, but why do you think that? That's what I want to know. You freaking moron, Tobimaru. That freaking moron, dude. Just like that, she had lost her cool and given into an unjustified outburst. Oh, that's funny. It was time to seal off the area and destroy all evidence. Akko's embarrassment devolved into sheer panic, and her grudge against Tobimaru suddenly manifested as a criminal assault. She lashed out with a punch that could have taken down a bird mid-flight. More specifically, it was a brutal right hook. Woo! Akko blinked, her blow connected with something solid, snapping her out of her reverie. Her temper had lashed out at the complete defense of Sojiro. It had been a splendid blow with all her weight behind it, knocking him out cold. That's fucked up. Sojiro groaned, crumbled to the ground. Her punch finished the job at the crush that the curse had started. If not for the discomfort on his face, he appeared almost to be sleeping. Akko convinced herself that he was napping, not confused. Well, whatever. It was always going to end like this anyway. What? No, it wasn't. The tension in her shoulders eased away as she looked down at Sojiro. A ton had gone in her way over the course of today, but the day was solved for now. With nobody left to butt heads, she felt exhaustion finally overtake her. How the heck am I going to walk home like this? Her fatigue was enough to make her complain out loud. When she thought about it, she realized that this was the first time she had used up all of her magical energy and the first time she had participated in a battle of this scale without any prior preparations. Though in truth, it would have ended in mutual destruction if I had been alone. She felt somewhat proud as she whispered those words. Normally it was something that she could beat herself over, but instead she simply shrugged her shoulders with a bitter smile. After all, it was thanks to that person sleeping by her side. Hey, you can't hear me, can you? Damn, that's a good screenshot. As if the night had swallowed her voice before it reached him, she received no response. Confident, she continued and never quieted her voice. So what? Thank you. Really got me out of jam there. Oh, that's sweet. Of course, there was no response from Shojiro, and she was not expecting one. Saying it for the record was enough. That's sweet. But what about Alice? Aqua watched Shojiro sleep for a while and then pulled something out of her pocket. It was a palm-sized glass bottle her roommate had given her. Oh, which she opened with a pop. But none of this matters. Is that to heal him? Leaving behind words colder than the winter chill at night, she called out his name. She barely sensed the bottle moving. All the silhouette on the fallen boy appeared to blur. She got the feeling that the weight of the bottle had increased slightly. Whoa, that's kind of weird. What appeared to be a human form could clearly be seen inside the glass. Alice Kunuji's tools... What? Alice Kunuji's tools were mystics that confused even the most knowledgeable of mages. What does that do? As soon as Aqua tried to analyze them with logic or reason, she was already out of her depth. Knowing this all too well, Aqua closed the bottle and watched the boy disappear as if by some kind of magic trick. Oh, he's in the bottle. Jeez, this is no stage trick, it's actual magic. She muttered as she looked into the magical bottle. Its weight had not changed significantly. She had no idea how it worked, but one thing she did know was that there was a human being inside of it. Oh. Its light weight was almost unnerving, closer to empty air than a human being. It was about as heavy as one would expect if they bottled a summer breeze, though that did fit her image of Shojiro perfectly. It's just like Alice said. She muttered to no one in particular as she recalled the past. This really isn't like me. Aqua wore a bittersweet smile. Her unusual moodiness was gone. Oh, her usual moodiness was gone. It was a dangerous world out there. It was good to have someone to keep her on her toes. With a wry chuckle, she flicked the magical bottle with her finger and set off walking. Holy shit. She could hear a bell in the distance signaling the end of the play. An ephemeral dream gave way to reality. In the grand scheme of things, it had been but an instant. As the actors exited stage left, the last of the lights silently flickered out. And so the long-dead amusement park played its final role as a memory of a boy and a girl. Yeah, man. That felt like a whole game. If that was the end of the game, I would have been like, yeah, man, Witch of the Holy Night. And then they're like, oh, wait, there's a sequel. Now this feels like the sequel already. That was really good. That was such a damn good fucking chapter. Oh my goodness, dude. Chapter 5 was long too, by the way. Whew. That was a long chapter, but that was cool, dude. That was so sick. I'm so hyped to keep playing this. So this was Tea Time 5B, Night of the Witches 4. Now we're on Tea Time 6. All right, man. We're going to end. I don't know what part we're on. I think this was third video or the second video. But we're going to end it right there. We're just going to do chapter 5, right? We're going to leave that chapter as is. All right, man. If you guys like what you see there, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you guys want to see next. And until then, I'll see you next time. Peace out.